Hey everybody, welcome to stream. Hold on just a second while I just make sure we're all live. I've had a really rough day the past day or two, and I don't know how today's stream's gonna go. I'll kind of elaborate a little more as we get further in the stream. It's a lot to say the least. Like, I've not been feeling super great, and as a result, this stream may not last very long. I don't know, honestly. I don't feel like I've got my energy where I want it. Something happened to me yesterday, and I'm not really sure what's going on. I might be sick with something. I don't know. I don't think it's bad enough to be COVID, but I haven't been feeling good. I'll put it that way. I've been feeling like everything's just a mess. I've been having headache. Allergies have been a little bit persistent and annoying me. Throat's been kind of messed up. Some of this is just normal stuff that I deal with on a daily basis, so whatever. Nothing shocking there, but there are a few things, like my head's been feeling really funny over the last day or two, and enough that it makes me wonder if I might be having a fever or something, and also that's not the big thing that's been bothering me, but over the past day or two, I've been really fatigued for some reason. I've been having trouble getting sleep, and that might have been possibly adding up to what the problem is. I don't know if it is, but on top of that, I'm also having stomach problems recently. Like, my stomach is acting up really badly. I've been dealing with constant problems where I keep needing to go to the bathroom, and I'll just put it this way. I've been stuck going to the bathroom and needing to, I don't know how else to say this better, or basically needing to poop like 3 or 4 times a day, and it's gotten to the point where it bothered me, it was annoying, and also I felt like I didn't have a lot of energy throughout the whole day, so I ended up canceling the stream I was going to do yesterday. It's supposed to be a longer stream, but yeah. Same shit's happening to me all over again today. I'm a little bit concerned. I don't know if I caught a stomach bug or what. Something's kind of messing with me, I think, and not feeling very good as a result of it, so we'll see how things go. Right now, I think I'm okay because I feel like I can keep talking. I'm not being bothered too much by anything, but if something goes wrong, I'm gonna have to shut the stream off. I apologize in advance, but I can't sit here and guarantee a longer stream, even the normal 200 encounters I do, if I'm feeling bad, so let's just see how things go today and see if things are good. How are you guys doing, though? Hopefully better than I am, hopefully not having quite as lame of a day. Hopefully it's all going somewhat decent for you guys. Just thinking here, there's been some news that's been going around, a few things that are big news that I haven't had a chance to discuss that I remember seeing pop up since I haven't really streamed since these points, I don't think. One of the big ones is that apparently Nintendo is upping their servers and, like, upping the server capacity, I was going to say. I'm not sure that's the right wording. Yeah, they're changing their servers to be better and try to make connections improve, which means hopefully improvements for Mario Maker 2 and Smash Bros and whatnot, although I know Smash is peer-to-peer, but I mean, I'm sure they could find a way to make the Smash Online a little better. Maybe I'm just ignorant on how coding works and how netcode is supposed to work and how you code online games, but I genuinely feel like there could probably be some improvements to Smash's Online. Those are the two I can think of right away that need it. I'm trying to think if there's any other big-name games on Switch Online that run really bad. I mean, let's be honest, Switch Online as it is right now isn't great. It kind of runs not the best. You get, like, so many games for it, but not a lot of stuff, and you only get, like, online support and classic games for the most part. Not a great value overall, in my opinion. I don't know, the online quality of most of the games I played on Switch Online, aside from stuff like, say, maybe Tetris 99 and, say, let's see, what else is there? ARM's pretty good, like, say, like, that kind of stuff like Tetris 99, Mario 35, those are the games I see that have, like, less lag issues, so I don't even know what to expect out of the online anymore. I just don't know. Hopefully this server upgrade fixes things and makes it better. Apparently they're changing it for Monster Hunter Rise release, so that's kind of cool. I'm probably going to pick up Monster Hunter Rise now after playing that Balan Wonderworld demo and feeling like it was just boring and not very fun to play. I didn't really find it to be a good time, so yeah, if I'm buying another game next month, it's going to be Monster Hunter. Let's see, just thinking on stuff. I mean, there's been quite a few things that have been going around. I'll be honest, this is just a topic about something that's been relevant for a while. It's not a big deal, but I'm getting a little bit sick of going online and reading every day about, like, GameStop stocks. I figured this would eventually crash and drop in price, and I'm sure it probably will over time, but it's a little annoying when you want to go look at, like, anything news-wise. Like, say you go on Reddit, and then you look, and then you find nothing but people talking about fucking stocks and GameStop at the moment, and it's just like, please. Anything else going on would be cool right now. Instead of it just being purely talk about the GameStop stocks. I mean, it's not like it's been great for new things to really talk about. Go online on YouTube and fucking seems like a lot of the game shit that shows up still is just related to Among Us, and it's like, okay, like I said before, Among Us is alright, but I mean, it'd be cool if it wasn't getting, like, so much attention that it was easily the biggest game that keeps getting mentioned on YouTube, and, like, maybe start promoting more new games. I guess we're in a little bit of a drought where not a lot of new stuff is being advertised, but, like, I want to see more than Among Us popping up in my feed, for fuck's sake. I barely watch Among Us videos, and I get them all the fucking time, and they're really fucking samey, so don't really love those. Let's see here. Just thinking on what all I want to talk about. I have a few things that I set up for discussion points that I was planning to talk about, so why the fuck not? So, here's one that I have been meaning to discuss for a little bit. There's been, like, a lot of leaks over past few months. It's mostly been about Pokemon Unite. Also, I forgot about one news thing, and I'm going to go back and talk about that in a little bit. But let's continue with what I'm talking about right now. And a lot of leaks about Pokemon Unite, like the roster, I think, has been leaked in full. Also, some leak about there being costumes. I'm curious to hear thoughts on this, actually, from chat. I mean, if you guys don't want to talk about it, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to worry about it too much and not press anybody to answer, but I'm curious what you guys think of it. I'll be honest, when I first saw that in that Pokemon Presents thing after that one they did last year, they revealed Pokemon Snap and all those other projects, that was like one of the most underwhelming and kind of lame announcements out of like anything they could have done for game announcement. Just really, really boring, really, really unhyped kind of. What's the word for this? Is this guy a deal that nobody really gave a shit about, like I think it was because of Tencent licensing or something. I don't know all the details about Pokemon Unites. I don't know all of it, but I mean, I don't think I'm alone when I say I don't think anybody gave a shit, or really still does give too much of a shit all about getting a fucking MOBA that's based around Pokemon. I can't get into MOBAs either. I've tried multiple times and I struggle with like learning them, so kind of given up on bothering with MOBAs. I think I tried playing a little bit of League of Legends back in the day and it was okay, but I never really stuck with it. And I remember I tried playing Dota 2 for a little bit and I could not fucking understand even the slightest bit of it, and eventually I just fucking threw in the towel because I didn't want to sit there and keep fucking beating my head against the rock, it felt like, just to try and learn the game and not getting anywhere. I don't feel like they're very user-friendly for a game genre either, so didn't exactly help any. I'm honestly kind of curious who their target market with that Pokemon Unite thing is. I've heard, like, apparently Korean markets eat it up. I'm wondering if that's really the case or what. I mean, I don't see a lot of people really looking into this and getting the game as a download. I don't know. Maybe it'll be much bigger than I thought. It is Pokemon related, so you never know. Although, then again, Pokken Tournament didn't sell like a huge amount of copies, and that had the Pokemon branding on it, so can't really say. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say about Pokemon Unite at all, actually. I mean, I'm not going to play it if anybody asks that. I don't think it looks that great. Maybe I'll try it off stream. If it's okay, I might consider streaming it. I don't think I'm going to bother with it, though. Just thinking here. I think I mentioned news that I forgot to talk about, so we'll go right over that news in just 1 second. I just need to mark this topic for I've already talked about really quick on my list. Okay, I think we're good. 1 second, we'll get back on to talking about stuff. I don't know if there's any other news articles about the thing I'm going to mention. I think this came out like a day or two ago, maybe more. I'm not really certain. There was news about Netflix, or actually there's two things, or two or three things, and I remember hearing about the Sonic Sonic voice actor thing retiring and being a new voice actor. That's something I think I've already discussed a little bit, though. Wasn't what I was going to bring up. I remember there was some news about Nintendo just recently where it was like, apparently there was news where like somebody from Netflix, or it wasn't Netflix, I don't remember, somebody came out talking about like a Star Fox show Nintendo was working on with them, and it was like, I think it was to be claymation or puppeting or something, I don't remember. I'd have to double check and like see exactly what it is I'm thinking of, and like double check to talk about all the details of something along those lines, and apparently that got canceled. And it was canceled the same time that Zelda live action series with Netflix was supposedly in the works, and apparently both the projects got canceled at the same time. This was around in 2015, evidently. I remember hearing about this a few days ago. I'm not even surprised to hear about this, to be honest. You'd think maybe it'd be surprising, but this is so Nintendo and them at this point, and sounds weird saying that, but like, this is exactly the way Nintendo seems to operate. It's like, oh, somebody leaked something of ours that the partner we're working on, cancel all the projects we've got on, or should have got with them, and just don't make anything. It's just a weird way they handle things, and I think they probably improved now, but I don't understand Nintendo's development sometimes. Some of their methods for handling their merchandising or games or whatever is just really awkward. I was listening to like a video, just like a discussion of Game Explained talking about it, and went over some interesting points on it. I think one of them was mentioning like the fact that maybe they backed out from like Fear after the old Mario movie, the one that was the original Mario movie where live action, it didn't really happen to be too faithful to what Mario actually was, so I'm sure they didn't really love the way it turned out. It wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't that good of a movie either, and it sure as fuck felt like it had very little to actually do with Mario. Just a really dumb movie. It was okay, though. I remember watching it as a kid, and I kind of liked it, so wouldn't say it's a bad movie. I kind of want to know what the series would have looked like, though. Like, I genuinely would have loved to have seen, like, a Saturday morning cartoon-style version of Star Fox. I think Star Fox is really good. There was, like, some... Apparently it's being... I think it was College Humor, not Netflix, that was on the Star Fox thing. Maybe I'm misremembering, but, like... apparently that... I didn't even know this. Apparently there was, like, an animation from College Humor that was Star Fox based back in the day, and apparently the style for animated series might have been similar to that. I don't know, like, very much about it. It's interesting they even considered them when they do, like, a lot of dumb, dirty, and more adult humor for some of the stuff for doing something with one of their franchises, but I don't think it's the first time they've worked with them, so maybe it's not that surprising. I remember back in the day, maybe I'm misremembering a little bit, I think they did like a series of college humor or something with, like on the 3DS, they had like a series that was called Dinosaur Office, and I remember it showed up on like some video thing Nintendo was hosting, and it was on there like every week. I remember watching it. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't terrible, but it was up there, and it was a alright show to watch. It was like puppets or whatever, and kind of goofy, kind of dumb, but also funny, but not overly funny. It was just like, okay, yeah, this is just goofy humor involving puppets. It's pretty alright, though. I genuinely liked what I saw of it, but they've had that with Nintendo, I believe. Kind of makes you wonder what if this really was just because the Zelda thing leaking. I would have loved to have seen a Zelda live-action show or movie, even anything like that. I remember I talked about it a few times, but I remember there was a movie, like, or not, yeah, this is movie's right word, movie thing that was teased like a few years, I say a few years, but it's probably longer than that. It's like 2010 or 2007 or something. It feels like it was yesterday, but there was like a thing that I think IGN did like an April Fool's or something, and they released what was supposedly a trailer for a live-action Zelda movie, and it was based on Ocarina of Time. It looked really, really good, really, really cool, and everybody was basically convinced it was fake, and then the next day it ended up that they revealed it and were like, oh, no, this is actually not real. This was never going to be a thing you fell for our April Fool's joke. Everybody was kind of pissed off about that, and rightfully so. Speaking of April Fools, I don't really... Actually, I can talk about it a little bit. I don't want to talk about it too much, but, like, I don't really like when companies do, like, really, really mean-spirited April Fools. Like, they bring something cool-looking, really, really neat, and, like, it could have a practical purpose or be something that's worth picking up and make a fake product, and then, like, later just go and reveal, haha, gotcha, this was never real to begin with, this is an April Fool's joke. It's like, really? You went and wasted God knows how long on a video making a fake project, also you could make an April Fool's joke and, like, fuck with everybody. It's just like, I don't know, I don't like seeing that very much. I like seeing some that are good but are harmless, like, this one sucks a little bit, but there was something, I don't remember what the name of it was completely, there was like a thing from, I think it was way forward, like a year or two ago, where there was like a thing based on DuckTales, because they did that DuckTales remastered or whatever it was on Wii U, Xbox 3, or Xbox One, excuse me, and PS4, and they had like that up there, and there was like a supposed mock-up for a sequel, and then when they they ended up revealing that it was actually supposed to be a sequel, and that it was supposedly everything else was canceled like partway through development. I don't remember the name of it. I'd have to double check it, but it looked really, really good and like a really fun little sequel to the DuckTales remastered game that came out, which I remember buying that and I had a lot of fun playing it, so a little bit sad to see it end up being a fake. I don't know, I would have probably... Is that my controller? Give me a second. I need to check my battery. Not that it's a big deal, but I don't know how much battery I've got on my controller for sake of playing. Okay, it's still decent. If it's running low, I'll swap over to Joy-Cons. But yeah, that kind of thing was alright. It wasn't the greatest thing to see, since it's like game was canceled and could have been real, but turns out that instead of it being that case, that it was actually a game that was in development at one point. I mean, we might not have got to see the game otherwise, so I'm cool with the way they handled that April Fool's. I think it was really, really good. I remember one particular April Fool's that I really didn't like last year. It was by Platinum Games. Hold on a second, I'm just moving my stuff where I can relax and have an easier time I'm sitting back and talking, because right now my back was aching a little bit. Anyway, sorry about that. I remember there was a thing by Platinum. You guys remember that Platinum 4 thing, and they teased like a bunch of projects? They had Wonderful 101 as their first thing for like a remastered version, and they revealed that they'd be doing that Project GG thing. They announced something about getting a bigger office space, which is cool, and then it came time for their last announcement, and then find out when the last announcement's made, they made like a reveal that was like a fake video game with some other company that makes arcade games. I don't remember exactly what the title was. I'd have to double check it, but it looked kind of cool. Not really something I'm sure I would buy, but it was disappointing finding out that they announced this big website like it was supposed to be something actually neat and something cool, and gonna have like several reveals that were worth looking into, and then find out that the last announcement is just a fucking April Fool's joke, and actually just like not actually a real announcement whatsoever. It's like, why even bother naming it Platinum 4 and going through all this trouble if your final announcement is going to be at April Fool's? God damn it, I got a hair on my finger that wouldn't come off. Sorry about that. I need a moment to take care of it. Yeah, why even bother if you're going to make a fake game announcement and tease it like it's going to be a big deal beforehand? It's like, that just kind of felt kind of lame seeing that. I don't know how you guys hold up on that. Usually the fake game announcements fucking sting. It's like, be some really, really cool looking ideas for video games that are thrown out there on April Fools and end up being not real. It's just disheartening to see that. I don't know. I don't love seeing April Fool's jokes with cool looking game ideas. That usually just feels like it hurts to see something cool get teased and not be real. See, I'm thinking here on other things I want to discuss. I mean, we could talk about April Fool's stuff a little more, but I don't know if there's anything I want to bring up about it, anything that was really, really good. There's a lot of cool April Fools. We can discuss those later. Right, let's see. We'll go back to the topic I was talking about. I think a live-action Zelda show would be great. I remember, like, a few years back, actually, we had, like, that mention of Nintendo talking about how they wanted to do more with their series and wanted to do, like, say, some new anime. They wanted to do anime with their series, like, more than they already did, and wanted to, like, branch out and do more stuff with their game series, like comics. They had that Splatoon comic, and then that anime in gigantic quotation marks began kind of that for Splatoon, which is just a voiceover for the fucking comic, it seemed like, which that was fucking disappointing hearing that they planned to do an anime, even if it was a one episode thing, and then it was actually just like low effort, worst definition of an anime no matter how you look into it. That was something that I genuinely found disappointing. I don't know, I don't mind any of their anime they've had, and I would think a lot of their shows would be good. Like a lot of video games seem to have stories that can be compatible with that kind of format, although the only problem with video games is, I've seen this mentioned in some other, like, media, that video games have really, really, well, I say media, it's just like videos, and it's a fair point. The video games have really, really large stories that can't be told through other means, and makes it a little harder to make movies or anime or whatever to discuss them. I still feel like it'd be cool to see more series based on video games, though. Netflix has that Castlevania anime, and apparently the Castlevania anime is fairly good, and I want to check that out sometime and see if I actually like it. I don't know if it's still ongoing or not, though, but I mean, seems like something that'd be good. Seems like it'd be a fun series to watch, and I'm sure it's not bad. I've heard a lot of people talk about it and talk about how good it is, so I'd like to sit down and watch it sometime. Don't know if I would love it or not. I bet they could have done a good job with Zelda. There's so many angles they could have taken it. They could have gone for doing just Breath of the Wild. They could have done like a series that's like starting from Ocarina of Time or wherever, maybe Skyward Sword, and like working from the beginning of the timeline all the way down to where the timeline's at now. That would have been a really, really neat idea for doing an animated series. I bet a Zelda animated series would be pretty cool. Or even a live action one, because Zelda's pretty good. And I feel like if the right tools, they can make a really cool looking live action version of Zelda. I think it's a bit of a problem though. You have to like blur the line. How do you handle some of that if you want to make everything look good? Like, I do wonder how if they did live action, they'd make Gorons and Rito or whatever look like they're like actually something that fit in, don't just look weird. I'm guessing we probably have like CGI for that. That'd be pretty neat to see. Let's see. Just thinking on anything else that I want to bring up, and like also don't have some Nintendo's other animated stuff or whatever for a little bit, since why the fuck not? Here's one that I can remember. The Pokemon anime is pretty good, obviously. That's a thing that comes on. I don't really care about it anymore, and I don't watch it very often. I haven't watched it in a long time, and I've been kind of meaning to try getting back into it. Pokemon anime is good, though. Episodes are fun to watch, and it seems like it's not been that bad. The quality stayed fairly consistent over the years. It's been their longest running show. Also, they had a Kirby anime for a while. The Kirby anime was pretty good, so Kirby anime is something I kind of wish would have kept going. I don't know if it was amazing, but I actually enjoyed watching that every now and then. Fun show and fairly simple little TV show that I remember watching on 4Kids back in the day. I wish we had more of those for other series, and not the kind of crappy shows that nobody cared about. The Mario TV shows were kind of, they weren't terrible, they weren't the greatest. They kind of felt like they had some good plot lines and some really, really stupid. Mario show was alright. There were like 3 or 4 iterations of it, I think. None of it I remember particularly well overall, though. The Mario cartoon was alright, I guess. Captain N's got to be the worst video game show I've ever seen, though. Captain N just wasn't very entertaining. There wasn't anything I can think of that I can compliment Captain N on. It was just kind of, mishmash of games, and a really bad mishmash of games at that. They had potential to do something cool, and instead of making something cool, they made a show where the characters are all really fucking weird and feel like, I don't know how to describe it, like, maybe, like, over or done, or what's the right word for this? I'm not sure. Like, the characters felt like they were versions of themselves. Somebody who'd, like, played games and didn't really learn the characters. That's the kind of thing you got out of Captain N. Like, it's just somebody who played games and then made assumptions based on what they saw in video games, based on like certain small things, like how they fucking kept calling Pit Kid Icarus, and he always said Icarus too much. And Mega Man was just really weird, short guy, and not the kind of character that you'd expect out of Mega Man, to be honest. Also, Link was really stupid, both in the Zelda cartoon and also in, like, any showings he was in when he was in the Captain N stuff, so didn't really love that either. Simon Belmont was a joke, too. I don't know, none of the things I remember that are very good. All the fucking things they tried to do with video game characters were rather dumb and not that great. Captain N feels like it was that kind of show that it was probably a byproduct of its time, but it wasn't very good to begin with, and I don't think many people are going to disagree with me about Captain N being shit. That show was rather awful and not very fun. See, I think on any other animated stuff that I want to talk about for even just a little bit that's happened. That Star Fox Zero animation back when the game was brand new was pretty neat. I remember that pretty well, and I remember like watching that and thinking it was really, really good. Like a fairly fun watch and a fairly good little animated video they did. It seemed like it might not have taken them that long, and it's been a good way to promote the game. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like Star Fox Zero retained like a huge amount of its quality. It was still a good game, in my opinion. I don't really think it's terrible. It's not great, but like the animated skit was probably better than the actual video game. Looking at it realistically, the game kind of wasn't that great. I don't know. I didn't really hate it. They didn't really love it either. Star Fox Zero could have been so much more than what it was, and I just didn't love it. I wish I could say that it was better, but it wasn't. The other animated things, I can think of 2 more actually. And I'm pretty sure they're all on the Nintendo YouTube now. Those Pikmin skits are up, like the ones they did for Pikmin. After they released Pikmin 3, they made like those Pikmin short movies, and they released those like a year or 2 later or something, I think, and then they re-released them again to promote Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Those are pretty good. Those are all really cool. Those are unfortunately rather short. It's like Nintendo dabbling into like the movie space a little bit. The plotline of them is silly, but I enjoyed them, seeing the things. I think the last one's the best one. It's set up where it's longer and has a little more plot exploration, a better plot line to it than the other 2 did, even though they're goofy little animated skits. They're not really meant to have amazing stories, but I enjoyed those. The one with Olimar, or like making pick carrot juice and seeing the Pikmin like freak out at the way Olimar was looking. It's like his face looked a little creepy in one of those scenes. That was funny, seeing that, just seeing how dumb that skit was, and seeing the misunderstanding between the Pikmin and Olimar was really cute. I enjoyed that one quite a bit. Also, the one with the Pikmin getting like stuck in the jar was funny, and then watching him, I think it's like the same Pikmin or something, got stuck in the jar again trying to grab some shit. That was a fairly good little animation. I enjoyed that one. That one was one of the better parts. Yeah, I enjoyed that. They were all 3 like really good. I don't remember like the last one a whole ton. I remember it was like collecting stuff and they had to kill a Bulborb or something because it was like chasing them. That was a very good skit. Felt like something that actually came out of Pikmin and ended up feeling like it'd actually be in a game. That was a nice little skit with a lot of animations and a lot of fun little Easter eggs. Also, the most content and best of the skits, in my opinion. Would love to see what they could do with like a more format where they like have more they can work with for either a show or more animated stuff or whatever reason for Pikmin. It was good to see those. I would love to see them do something where they could put up something like going over the events of Pikmin 1 and 2 or something. I don't know, just anything that'd be able to give us more of that kind of stuff would be kind of cool. I mean, not really a big deal either way, though. There's one other thing with Nintendo animated stuff that I can think of that I can bring up that is really, really good, and I remember this back in the 3DS days. I don't think I've mentioned it yet. There was a thing they did where they did something with the 3DS, and they did something for Kid Icarus Uprising. This is like part of their video thing they did, I think. They had like a series of little skits they made, or not even skits, I guess. They were kind of close to an actual anime, like little animated videos for Kid Icarus Uprising. I don't remember how many there were. There were like 3 or 5. They all had that really nice little hand-drawn anime-like style to them. All of them were really, really good. They focused on the general plot of the game and were there to advertise that those Kid Icarus skits were high quality, really high quality, and very, very good, and I wish they had done more with them. I think there were like 3 or 5 skits or something, and I feel like they gave us a tease of what they could have done with the Kid Icarus anime and made something really cool, and then they chose not to do anything else with it. I don't love that about what they did with those skits. It was not bad, but I mean, it just feels like, yeah, why bother making these skits and then not doing anything else with them, and not doing anything else with the Kid Icarus franchise besides using it in Smash Bros. I don't know. I don't think the game sold very badly on 3DS or anything, so I don't know why it's not gotten a sequel, but whatever. Like, they joke about that in the end of Kid Icarus Uprising, and we haven't got a Kid Icarus game since. You know, I'm curious. I wonder what the sales data for Uprising is. Let me Google that, because I want to see what comes up when I search it. Rising sales, maybe? Yeah, let's just see what it says when I check it. I'm curious what the game sold for units. It says it's over 1 million, but looking for a thing, even if it's like VG charts. Give me a second or two. I'm just gonna see what this says. I'd like to see more of this series. Nintendo needs to stop, like, shelving their franchises and then leaving them dormant without any activity. It kind of hurts a little bit to see that. I genuinely love a lot of their series, and seeing Kid Icarus get revived and then just shelved again is rather disheartening, to be honest. It'd be nice if they actually used it instead of just fucking throwing it away when they were done with it. I don't know. Feels like it could have been used for more. Apparently the game sold 1,350,000 units. That's off of VG charts. I don't know how reliable their data is, so it's not terrible, not the best sales. I feel like they still could have done more with it. Even if it's just one more game, that would have been cool. I would have liked to have seen something out of Kid Icarus. There's a lot of series they could utilize more. Punch-Out's another one. Also, they revive a lot of series, and then they leave them and don't use them for a long time. Fucking same thing with Pikmin and Pikmin 4's seemingly in development hell right now, which kind of sucks. I'd like to see more of Pikmin. I wish they would use their series more. I just really do. That'd be nice if they stopped letting their series go completely dormant and actually made a full use of them. But whatever. I don't think there's anything else I need to bring up that I was going to for, like, animated series, because I don't think there's any others that I can even think of that were, like, big deal. I know there's, like, an animated Mario movie, but I'm not in the mood to talk about that right now, and I'm not really going to get into the topic of Pokemon movies or anything like that, so let's just not bother with that. I feel like I'd rather not talk about that right now. Give me a second or two, because I have a lot of things in my mind, but I'm not really sure exactly what I want to talk about, like, right away. We'll get into something in just a second. I might bring up what I'm thinking about a little bit later. Let's see here. Okay, I guess this is a decent topic for a little bit. Just a point of discussion that I don't believe I've brought up on stream at any point, really, and something I think is worth talking about some. So, this is relating to, like, Discord and whatnot. You guys use, like, chat applications very often, or use them in the past? I don't know how many people here are, like, how a lot of my viewers are. I think some of them are younger and haven't had a chance to relate back to what I'm talking about too much. I think Discord's, like, go-to messaging thing for desktop, and even used in some cases on, like, mobile, and pretty good for talking to people. I'd say Discord's my go-to for when I want to talk to somebody and I have something on my mind, so I'll go to Discord. Or do you guys use any other things like that now, or even in the past, like any chatting applications you guys used? I remember when I was younger, I used Skype a lot. I remember I used it for, I don't even know how many years, like a good 10 or something, like 2010 or longer. Like, I used it until, like, Windows 7 or 8, maybe later than that. I don't remember exactly when I finally made the switch off of Windows, or not Windows, off of this Skype over to Discord. I mean, Discord happened, like, a lot later, though, so wasn't exactly the fastest transition. Skype was okay. It had a lot of features like video chat, screen sharing, a lot of, like, calls with, like, a lot of people, those kind of things. It was pretty good and enjoyed using it for those things, but I don't know how I stand at using Skype so much. It was such a low quality program. The only thing I can say that I liked about Skype, which wasn't a bad thing, is that, you know, I don't know why Skype would sometimes, like, be able to keep you online even when your internet died, and you could still talk to your friends regardless of the fact your internet was down. Like, that was something that Skype did that I actually wish more chat clients could do, just because it's like, still want to be able to talk to them, but your internet's not working correctly. I don't know how Skype managed to work when the internet was like completely disconnected and fucked up, but that was like one of the few redeeming factors I had. Skype was not great though. It was sloppy, kind of hard to use. Not the most user-friendly of like chatting applications. It felt like it got outdated and stopped working, or certain things weren't very clear when trying to use it, and it made the experience rather frustrating. I never really dabbled into any other like chatting applications before Discord, though. Discord was like the big one that I changed stuff for. I think I actually used like Steam voice chat a little bit because it's like, well, it's there. It was low quality though. It didn't really do the best job, and it wasn't really something that I would say is something I loved utilizing. Excuse me. I found when I used Steam voice chat, it kind of didn't work very well overall. It wasn't terrible, but I'd be lying if I said I had a good time using Steam voice chat. There were a lot of memories of it being really, really broken and really, really unhelpful in most scenarios, so I haven't gone back to it since then for fair reason. I remember a lot of like chat clients people talked about back in the day, like while Skype was still kind of big for like stuff that people used to talk to people. It was like Mumble's the name of one or something, I think. That was something I heard about a lot. Then there was that TeamSpeak program. I think they were both in the same line as Skype, and yet I didn't really love them, and I didn't find those to be amazing programs. In fact, I never really downloaded them, and I never really saw the appeal, and I could just keep using Skype, and I'm surprised I managed to keep using it for as long as I did. Absolutely program. Did not really do much, and I gotta say, when I used Discord, like, good God, the difference was immediately noticeable, and it took a while to get screen sharing and video calls and whatnot, but when Discord did, like, fucking easily way above Skype in terms of quality, and definitely a good program now, very much. It's worth utilizing. I'd say Discord's probably one of the best chat applications out there. Fairly easy to send messages or do calls or whatever. I like the way Discord works. It's a very, very good program. I feel like I wouldn't be talking with anybody if it weren't for Discord. Just makes it easy to hang out and chat with people or talk about certain things or do whatever. Discord's useful. Very useful. I'm surprised things have been going well. I was a little worried, but not having any problems with my stomach or anything. Right now I've been having a fairly simple time, like, getting through and doing the shiny hunt today. I'm glad, because I didn't really want to skip out yesterday. I don't know if I'm going to do 3 days of playing this in a row or not now, like I was planning to, because I don't want to really have another stomach cramp come up or something bother me and mess with me while I'm trying to stream. We'll see. Give me a second or two. I'm just going to mark this off my list of things I was wanting to discuss really quickly. You guys watch, like, science videos any, out of curiosity, or do you guys not bother? Just curious to hear, like, general thoughts on this, hear how people feel about some YouTube videos and, like, science stuff or whatever. Don't have to discuss it if you don't want to. I'm thinking, like, Vsauce or theory videos or whatever, whether it be game theory or whatever, and I'm not really specifically referring to game theory. In fact, game theory is not really what I have on mind, but I'm, like, curious if you guys watch these kind of videos whatsoever for, like, this kind of thing. Hold on just a second before I continue. I was wanting to discuss, like, several things in this, so we might have a fairly lengthy discussion about this that I think will be hopefully good. Just give me a moment or two here. Yeah, I think I see what I was looking at now for what I was going to talk about. Just needed a second or two. I found some fairly interesting videos. I believe it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I remember stumbling onto like a channel that did some science videos. I don't remember what. I think I just had a question that came up in my mind. You got like it stems from like wanting to talk about like another thing about like movie plot lines, which we'll get into a little bit later and try discussing in more detail because I think it'll be worth discussing a little more. But it's like I watched a video about like, you guys probably heard of that concept of like a time loop where things are stuck in a loop and everything's repeating and you keep reliving the same day. Got like really curious out of like looking. I was like thinking of some stuff and I just had to look this up on like a whim out of like, can a time loop actually happen? It was really interesting to like, I found like a video of it and apparently it's not completely out of the realm of possibility, but it's very, very likely. Like that it wouldn't happen, but it's like not impossible. Talking about like the logistics of it, the science of like how it's happening in movies or videos or whatever, and it was a really, really interesting watch. Like, I'm trying to think, what all did I see about this? It said like related like some studies basically and talked about several movies, but it also discussed like how when we're living our everyday lives, we feel like have that feeling of deja vu and doing same thing over and over again, make you feel like you're trapped. That was something that was interesting to think about. Also posed the question that I think I probably thought of this a little bit, like, would we even be able to know if we got stuck in a time loop, like, or not even, so the time loop existed, like, besides the person who's stuck in it, obviously, like, supposedly, one of the theories behind it'd be, like, closed off from the rest of the world and couldn't actually interact with anybody. It'd just be a bubble around one area where it's repeating itself over and over again. That kind of idea is terrifying. Imagine living your whole life out and then you have like one particularly bad day and then and you want it to be over with and then wake up the next day and suddenly relive the exact same day with the exact same shit going on, exact same conversations and exact same like events play out. You could maybe change things a little bit, but like basically see a loop where nothing's really changing. That would be hell, being stuck in the same day for practically your whole life unless you could figure out how to actually fix it and go back to living normally. One of the more interesting science fiction things and movie plot lines, in my opinion. Also very, very interesting. And there was some more stuff that I found really interesting about this. So it was like related to like some real life things, not exactly time loop, but I mean like somebody was like two studies of an older man and some guy who was going to college and had problems with his like basically had this unsteady like shaking feeling or unshakable feeling, like really weird feeling of like feeling like he'd experienced everything like before and already lived through some of the moments he's going through, and it was related to the same kind of thing you'd expect in one of these time loop scenarios. Really, really interesting to hear about, but also terrifying at the same time because the guy's mental psyche sounds like it was torn down, or maybe there really is something a little more powerful out there that could impact something like that without us actually knowing. Just an idea behind that, like, that's actually scary to me. I don't know about you guys. Fucking stuck living one day of your whole life over and over and over again, never to escape it. That would suck so much, not being able to have any way to fucking control your life and just stuck doing whatever over and over again, and it'd be worse than death, probably, because you couldn't fucking escape it. Not a fun thing to think about. I also remember hearing about some movies that were pretty interesting that had this exact, like, storyline. I know there's, like, that time. What was it called? Death Day. I remember that's a rated M movie, I believe. There was the Groundhog Day movie, which is supposedly a classic. I haven't watched that. I'm trying to think what else was there. I think there was ones like somebody wished for Christmas every day, and that was like a plot line where it was, and then they couldn't live their life, and they had to try and fix that as part of like the time loop. I don't think if there's any other concepts of this that I've forgotten, like movies that explored this exact same thing. I don't recall any others that I haven't brought up. It's an interesting subject, something that's worth thinking about and worth talking about a little bit. Maybe not the most exciting topic in the world. Just thought it'd be a fun little brain scratcher to talk about for a little bit and maybe discuss with you guys. I wanted to discuss several things I was thinking about, and I think we'll go ahead and bring up one of those, actually. It's related to this science stuff. This is another thing I was watching on this same channel that was alright, not the best video. Alright, though I enjoyed it. Didn't find it to be amazing. It was a video on death, and it was talking about, like, after death, like, talking about how our brains handle death and how consciousness works, and are we conscious after death? And there was a lot of interesting stuff on it. Like, it went over quite a few interesting subjects, like people who've died and then said they saw a light when they got, like, defibrillated and brought back from, like, the verge of death, that kind of thing, where they had a bit of an encounter with it and nearly experienced what it was like to die when they were basically already dead and just barely brought back. It also talked about, like, quite a few things. Like, one was an experiment about, like, mice they did. I think something with a pig too, but like they basically talked about how a heart attack doesn't kill the brain right away, and how they did something with like mice to induce heart attack, even if it's cruel, and they used it to see how the brain would react after the mouse died off, see what exactly was going on, and studying it. Also, there was another study about, what was it, if I could remember, mice were I remember being really big. Oh yeah, there's something about like pigs, I think, as well. They did something with like slaughtered pigs and revived brain activity, and then seemed like the brains had some degree of activity even after they were actually dead. And that kind of thing freaks me out just a little bit. Not like a whole lot, but like, I don't know, it makes you wonder, like, I think the idea of heaven and hell isn't bad. I mean, hell sounds like it'd be terrifying and not something you'd want to deal with and experience yourself, obviously, but like, the idea of not getting to move on and being kind of stuck between afterlife and reality possibly is something I don't love the idea of. I don't like the idea of, like, dying and then brain still active and still conscious and thinking about things. Like, I find the idea of being like a conscious and disembodied and just the idea of being like a voice without actually any body, not even a voice, just like your thoughts, I guess I should say, without any way to communicate with the outside world. Something about that seems a little terrifying. Seems like if that was the case, and that's how the afterlife is, could go probably crazy over time unless you could interact with other people who've already passed on, so to speak, and are already dead. Because I couldn't think of any other way where it'd be somewhat normal looking or feeling. Also, I guess that would explain a lot of ghost stories, but ends up true. Like, basically, people who've died and still have their consciousness around and try to find a way to interact with the living somehow. I don't know if that's actually the case, but I mean, that would explain some of these stories you hear about where there's no way to know what the fuck is actually going on in the story and know exactly why this is happening. So, nobody's really shown up today. It makes me a little bit sad. Not super sad, but I mean, it'd be nice to have some people to chat and some chat in the chat room with today. I don't know why nobody's bothering to drop by. I just want to hang out and chat about stuff. But whatever, I'm gonna keep fucking toughing it out and keep going through this. I'm not having any serious problems right now, so we'll just continue. I don't know, the idea of life after death is something. Wonder if we'll ever find the answer to that. I guess it's a big mystery because you die, there's no real way to come back and report what happened. I think I'm done talking about that exact subject for a little bit, actually, and just don't really feel like there's anything else I want to talk about with it. I've got a few things that I want to discuss, though. Some stuff that I think will be fairly interesting. Something that'll be fairly good. Give me a second or two. I need to check on one tiny little thing before I continue. Okay, right. I was going to talk about some stuff from, like, game theory I've been watching. Well, not even just game theory, just, like, the channels like Game Theory, Food Theory, also Film Theory, like those. I've been watching some more of those videos. You guys watch those any? I mean, sure you watch them some, maybe. Like, I watch them religiously or very often. I remember watching some recent videos by MatPat that were fairly interesting. Pretty much all the videos I can think of that I'm talking about are like from the Film Theory channel, I believe. Like all the ones that I've seen recently. Some fairly good ones. There was one on Invader Zim that was pretty good and talks about like one of the big characters, not Zim or I remember the name of the two main characters. I didn't watch Invader Zim a whole lot, and like was on one of the characters. His name is Dib. Was like supposedly an alien, and how his father was also supposedly an alien. Like how he denied aliens, and how he had a lot of parallels to aliens, and also was like super smart. Like some aliens were suggested to be, just like a lot of things that lined up and pointed him the idea of him being an alien. It was really, really interesting for a watch. It makes me want to go and rewatch the series because I didn't really watch it too much as a kid. It's one of the shows I've heard a lot of good things about, and I remember seeing some of it. I just didn't really care and like watch a ton of it when I was younger for whatever reason. I can't say I didn't like it though. Invader Zim was alright. It was a fairly interesting TV show. I don't know why I didn't watch it. I guess it was kind of not around the right time for me or something. I had a lot of shows that I was already watching back in that point. It was a pretty silly show with a pretty good premise, though. I liked the idea of an alien being there in plain everyday view and nobody being smart enough to realize it, and one kid's trying to point out the fact that it's an alien the entire time. It's like something dumb, but something that's good enough for a plot line that works for a cartoon. Invader Zim was pretty alright. I'm gonna have to double check the page and reload for a second and see how everything's doing in terms of chat room. I haven't seen any messages in the chat room whatsoever right now, so I need to make sure everything is still good. Seems like it sent my test message through when I tried though, so I'll just leave that there and see about checking up on a little more later. I do wish more people would drop in and chat, though. I do. It seems like there's not really any activity in chat right now, which makes me very sad. But whatever. Like I said, I haven't watched the Invader Zim stuff at all, so I can't say any more on the theory thing I was wanting to say, because I don't know enough about the series as a whole to talk about it. Seems like a good series, though. Apparently they made like a movie on it, like, not that long ago. I remember hearing about Nickelodeon making like a bunch of movies for some of their older series. I don't know why they did that, but I mean, that's kind of cool that they made like a bunch of series of movies for some of their shows and gave fans a little treat of something to watch. I think that's kind of cool. Another one that I can think of, this is from another video on the Film Theory channel. This is a different one we'll talk about. It relates to a YouTube series, and I don't know if I'd say it's like their normal video since they were talking about it. It's some video called, like, Dad or whatever, and it's based on a YouTube channel and a guy who runs a channel named Dad. Really, really interesting, really, really weird thing. It's like this guy who does, like, skit videos, very, very talented actor, stays super in person all the time when he's doing, like, acting for videos or whatever, and fairly fascinating little video. It talks about, like, his channel and how he said he was going to quit and then ended up continuing his channel and started this series on his channel. It's like these videos that are about this dad character, and really, really fascinating stuff. It, like, talks about, like, how there's, like, an underlying ARG in the channel with this concept going on, and how it's a really, really bizarre premise. Like, it's futuristic, kinda, and it's like a family's like a robot full of robots or something. Like, the husband is robotic, the dad basically, same with the daughter and the mother, and they seem to, like, communicate telepathically for some reason. The food they eat all has a fucking can that's just labeled food. Really, really weird stuff. And see Dad doing all these very, very odd things in the videos. It sounds weird to call a character by the name Dad, but I mean, that's what the creator gave him for his name, so I mean, whatever. I'm not gonna change what I am calling a character just because I find it weird. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes on in these videos, and see some interesting stuff, like supposedly the wife is possibly cheating on the husband, and the husband supposedly has, like, a weird telepathic baby, or like a telepathy or something, like as a baby with, like, a lady that he has a crush on, supposedly likes him back, and supposedly cheated on his wife like that. A very, very weird concept that I don't really completely understand. Very, very interesting, though. It's all bizarre. Also, there's, like, a lot of creepy elements to it, like, supposedly the dad character took over the channel and, like, is ruling things where the original creator would have been instead, and controlling everything, and that he doesn't have any self-control. It's all obviously acted in ARG, but it's fascinating, really fascinating, and I don't think I've seen many ARGs, and the fact this channel is doing, like, a giant ARG is actually kind of cool, honestly. I think I've talked about this a little bit, and the subject matter is something unique. We talked about that a little bit. I think Portal had that going of Pikmin. Oops, Pikmin. I think Portal had that going of Portal 2, and I remember that back in the day. That was a fairly fun little activity, a little bit on the cryptic and weird side, and really crazy, seeing how many people were rushing to try and solve the ARG, trying to figure out the secret message behind it, and it was like a thing for releasing the game early, and on top of that, like, some things related to, like, games getting discounts or whatever, and a few other things. I think there might have been some things related to hidden messages in the game, but it was all a weird, weird ARG, like playing through several games in a pack and trying to get, like, a thing to decode, like, the AR stuff with the ARG, and everybody had to, like, fill in their part of the ARG to try and solve it. Really, really neat, really, really interesting thing they did. I don't think I've seen another video game company pull off a big name ARG like that since then. Maybe I'm wrong, and there's been somebody who's did something kind of similar, but I haven't seen anybody who's done anything like that since then, so it'd be neat to see something like that. But I mean, those are confusing and not the easiest way to, like, send out new information about a video game. Still really cool, though. I remembered I wanted to talk about this just because I remember that dad thing, and that thing was fairly interesting to watch, fairly weird little video series, and I've been meaning to check it out. I'll let you guys know about it. Apparently the story for the series is fairly in-depth and fairly neat, though, so like to get down my spare time, or not get down, but just get in my spare time some time to sit down and like try to check out what it's like and see like all about it. It brings me to one more video related to like the game theory, film theory kind of thing, like that kind of thing, talking about those subjects. And there was a video on KFC that I watched that was interesting. It talked about the secret recipe, and yeah, the food theory channel's usually the kind that does this, but apparently this was a thing for the film theory because of some old film, I say old, that's the right word, but yeah, they released some weird, like, movie type thing. I don't know what else you'd call it. It was like 15 minutes about KFC and supposedly about Colonel Sanders. Really, really weird, but really, really interesting. And it's about a rich girl trying to be married into like somebody who's got more money to get it, more riches, and she doesn't want to. Ends up meeting basically who's supposed to be Colonel Sanders in this movie, and talks about him. It's really, really weird. Supposedly, the idea was... Oops, shit. Wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was trying to get out of the fucking battle. But yeah, like I was saying, supposedly it goes over some interesting stuff and shows a few things that are interesting. Like, it's talking about, like, how there's hints at a secret recipe, and there is, like, a thing that's shown on screen at one point that's supposedly a secret recipe, but it doesn't actually have any real information on it. It's just a bunch of garbage written like this, that, or all these other things, like just random bits of text on a paper that sound like it's just like people or somebody writing like a note to themselves for like things they want to try, not actually a recipe. That was a bit of a tease. That wasn't like the point of the video. It was like something interesting that was pointed out in the video over time that I found was really, really fascinating. It's like little detail in the movie. There's citric fruits all scattered around like the movie throughout the whole time that show up continually, and it's only like a 15-minute movie, mind you, like I said earlier, so not really a lot of time they could be doing it if it wasn't intentional, and they keep putting these here. Then there's mention of talking about, like, Sanders and, like, the characters, and the characters, like, talking about, like, a job they had at, like, a restaurant that they worked out, and apparently the name of the restaurant is Italian, and it translates, I don't know the exact translation, it's something related to grapefruit, another citric fruit that they mentioned through like the video. Fairly interesting. Like, it's kind of hints that they use fruits in a way for their recipe, maybe, and like it's not like directly supposed to be using fruit, but like I don't know the exact explanation, like a citric acid or something, where they would like squeeze it out of the fruit to try and flavor the chicken. A really, really odd concept that sounds really, really fucking bizarre, and I mean, it is bizarre sounding. Whether or not it's actually how it's formed is, well, that's certainly something that's interesting to talk about, and something that I think is very, very good discussion, I guess. And I think they mentioned, like, they did a thing where they were doing, like, on all their channels, film theory, game theory, and food theory, there were going to be, like, videos all about KFC going up, and I know they posted that video about the KFC console on, and they posted on game theory, and that was about some video that said KFC console won the console wars, which is a rather dumb-sounding title. I haven't checked out exactly what that is yet, and if it's any good as a video, I don't know, I'll have to look at it and get back to you guys on it and see what I think of it, see if it's actually good or if it's just a fucking attempt to waste our time and try to distract us with something that's not really a big deal. I don't really see how the fuck it's meant to be serious, which I don't honestly know, like, how the fuck you can claim a fucking console that's literally being made for the purpose of warming fried chicken could actually be like a console war winning console. Seems like a kind of bold claim and rather dumb sounding one, but what do I know? I'm not an expert on consoles and console wars, so I don't know. Just a really, really weird one. Matt Pat does make some rather bizarre theory videos, so I mean, it's probably not the dumbest video he's ever made, to be totally honest. If it is sounding kind of stupid just listening to it when I talk about it, I'm gonna have to check it out later, actually, so I can give my thoughts on it and tell you guys what the video is actually about, just out of curiosity. Then there was one other video, as I mentioned, the food theory, film theory, and game theory thing, like, all being KFC themed. I think the other one was on, yeah, it was a food theory video, and it was about, like, trying out different recipes online and, like, trying to recreate the KFC, like, recipe for their chicken. Like, I think it's just modern chicken. Apparently the type of chicken that was made by Colonel Sanders himself wasn't quite the same. There were complaints about the quality decreasing, but, like, they apparently experimented with ideas and tried to make, like, a chicken that tasted like KFC's, actually. So that's a fairly straightforward video idea. I'm gonna have to check up on that one and see about that, because I might actually want to see if I could follow that recipe for, like, something worthwhile for home cooking later. I haven't had KFC in some time. I had it like a year or two ago, I think, but, like, that was when I was out. I think our area actually had KFC shut down over time. It was, like, near a college, and it was around for some time. It was a fairly good place to go get food from, and they had some good chicken. It's something I kind of miss a little bit, because I like the food from KFC. Not the best, but I mean, food that I found good nonetheless, and I enjoyed eating, so I didn't miss it. It was pretty good, and it was kind of food that you may not want to eat all the time, but it tasted like really good chicken. It's a shame that it's no longer in the area. That was always my... the two options we'd go to would either be KFC or Popeyes, and I'd usually get Popeyes for having spicy chicken. Apparently, I'm done. I think I'm done with the KFC talk. Maybe I don't think there's anything else I want to bring up about it right now. Maybe later if I can think of anything. Like, there was something about Popeyes taking some menu items down not so long ago, and that's something that I find to be a little bit strange of a decision. I don't really get why they took any of their menu items down. Popeyes has what I'd say is fairly good chicken, especially their spicy chicken. It's genuinely enjoyable. I think the items that were missing were two side items they took off their menu. They had the dirty rice taken off, and what was the other one, if I could remember? I have to double check what it was. That was one of them, and I don't remember the other one. I think it was like their was it their beans and rice? I don't have to double check. Let me Google it, because I bet I can find a result for it if I double check, actually, and see what it says when I look this up, see if there's anything that crops up really quick. Okay, let's see what happens when I search it. 1 second, I need to get this activated, obviously. Okay, so Popeyes removed sides. Yeah, let's see what it says, because I don't remember what both of them were. I just remember one of them. Cajun rice and green bean sides, it seems. I'm going to double check this just to make certain if what I'm reading is correct. Although, I don't remember eating green beans, to be honest, from Popeyes ever. Just looking at this, and yeah, okay, that's the one, it seems. I don't think I've ever had their green beans. Not that I care, but, like, I'm surprised they took off the Cajun rice. Cajun rice was actually pretty good. I'm not sure if I'd say it was a fan favorite or not, the kind of thing that was something I loved getting. It was a good side item that I enjoyed eating when I got food from there, and shame they just got rid of it. They have a lot of good things on their menu, and I don't see why they'd take away things that everybody loved on their menu for seemingly no good reason. Maybe there was a underlying reason that's better, but I couldn't imagine why they decided they would take away some favorites off of their menu. I don't know. I never got the chance to try the green beans. Maybe I should have. Oh well. Cajun rice was actually a really good one in my opinion, though. That was one I really enjoyed. That was a favorite that I liked to eat and I enjoyed ordering every now and then. I didn't get it super often. It was still good, though. I remember, like, I guess it's... I don't know if a lot of people just didn't order it. I guess I usually got, like, I'd get the potatoes and gravy when I wanted those. Those were good. I used to get, like, potatoes and white gravy fairly often, and then I started getting the potatoes with, like, that brown Cajun gravy, and those were good, and I got that fairly often, but I got that more than other sides, and I wonder if now maybe that wasn't the best decision, but I mean, nobody really could have expected they just suddenly take the Cajun rice off of their menu, so whatever. I mean, it sucks, it really sucks, but at least, I think they still have the beans and rice on their side. Those are pretty good. Yeah, the red beans and rice are still there. Those are a side that I genuinely enjoy eating from there, so those are good, and those are something I still get. Kind of making myself hungry for pie pies. I don't know if I want to go get any after I get done, though, because I don't know if I have the money for it or not. I'd certainly like to get it, but whatever. I'm in the mood for chicken now, though, after saying all that crap. I got myself hungry. Oh well, whatever. Just gonna try and ignore it and not think about it too much. Just focus on continuing this. Also, yeah, there's been nobody here today. That makes me saddened and disappointed by a little bit, so I don't know. I was hoping we'd have more people here to discuss stuff with. Oh well, not a big deal. Give me a second or two while I look at some stuff and see what I want to bring up for the moment. See if there's anything that I have on my mind that I want to talk about. Let's see here. Just one second. I just need a moment or two to look over what I'm looking at and anything good that I want to discuss for the moment. Just another topic for talking about for a little bit that's decent and something that's decent, really fun thing to discuss. How do you guys feel about stop motion videos? I'm curious to hear. Do you guys like those kind of videos? I remember those were usually like really popular on YouTube. I didn't watch them all the time, but they were always really fun to watch and really cool, usually fairly creative little videos that felt like they had a lot of effort put into them, and I found a lot of the time that I enjoyed sitting down and watching stop motion stuff because I felt like there was a lot of effort put into it, and it was a lot of fun to like check on the videos and see what people did to stop motion. I thought that was something that I genuinely enjoyed seeing, and I thought was a good time. I really enjoyed seeing those. It's just cool to see somebody put in a lot of effort and then make something like that and see how they handle it, the animation. Also, they have it's like it's really hard to not respect a stop motion video because the fact that it takes so long to fucking animate it. You have to do it one shot at a time, sitting there taking one photo after another and then getting it to like animate very, very slowly, and that's something that seems like it would take a lot of time and not be very easy. I genuinely feel like I have a lot of respect for anybody who can do stop motion because of that. I'm trying to think of any big stop motion videos that I saw like in the day that were good projects to watch. Stop motion's fun to see, though. I don't think I can remember any. I remember we had to do like a project in computer class, like when we were like 10th or 11th grade, that involved stop motion, though. That was something that was fairly interesting and I guess kind of fun to work with. Not great, in my opinion. It wasn't the best project, but it wasn't and the worst either. It was a fairly simple little project, fun to work around though, and set stuff up. Also, stop motion seems like a good gateway into possibly getting into animation if you can like get the right skill set down to be able to do it. Stop motion's cool. I enjoy it. I don't think I can name anything else that I can, or name anything off the top of my head that's good for talking about stop motion, unfortunately. I wish I could, because I feel like this is a topic that has more potential to be talked about for something interesting that's worth discussing. So yeah, I'd like to talk more about stop motion as a whole and discuss it some, because I think it's a good thing to talk about. Okay, give me just a second or two. I have another subject I want to bring up that I think will be very good, that I actually was meaning to bring up on last stream and got sidetracked, and I was trying to discuss it, so we'll talk about that in just a second, and I think it'll be a fairly good thing to discuss, so what the hell, we'll talk about that in just a second. So what I'm thinking of that I wanted to bring up is related to a thing on Cinemaster, the AVGN's channel. I watch his videos. I think he's funny and very good. I like AVGN. Guy's got good sense of humor, and his video style is great, and he's had a large following for a long time. I think James Rolfe is a very, very good creator and somebody that I respect and find to be worth watching a lot of the time. He had a fairly neat little review video, like, I guess, like, a week ago, maybe less, to be honest. I'm not actually sure, like, particularly when this video came out. He does, like, all sorts of reviews, not just video game reviews when he's not making nerd videos, and he made one based on a show back in the day that was fairly interesting. He made one on that dinosaur show that I was wanting to talk about for at least a little bit. He made a video where he talked about how, like, he talked about the fact the show was made by puppets, and it looks incredible and uncanny because of how well it's done. Like, you can't really tell you're looking at puppets super easy. It kind of looks like CGI, and cast is fairly good, fairly easy to like, selection of characters, and fairly good story. Like, it's like a sitcom show, and has some interesting stuff in it about it. Apparently the show had some stuff that related to, like, even modern day stuff, actually, and discussed, like, topics right now, like gay, like being lesbian, those kind of things. It talked about some stuff like drugs, those kind of things, and talked about all sorts of topics, really, and fairly interesting to talk about. Like, I didn't watch the show, and I remember hearing a lot of things about it over time and how it's fairly good and a decent show. It got me interested in it because it's like almost parodying like how we as humans act. At some point there were like politics and some racism subjects in the show, apparently, too. Like, a lot of really, really in-depth things you wouldn't expect out of a show that was targeted at, like, basically being for, like, all ages, and fairly interesting, like, little review on the show. I've never watched it, and it makes me really want to. Like, I've, as far as I've watched puppet shows, I think the only thing I've really watched is Sesame Street, and I think I might have seen a little bit of the Muppets, too. Those are two that I've seen, but outside of that, I haven't really seen, like, huge ton of older stuff that's uses puppets. Definitely a really old style of animation, or not animation, a style of show formatting. Like, I haven't seen anybody use puppets for anything in a long time, so yeah, I don't know. Not bad, not great. I didn't really care about that kind of stuff too often, but this was really, really intriguing. Also, apparently the show had a really, really dark ending, and it was going over, like, a lot of modern stuff. Like, it talked about, like, climate's getting colder and colder, and not being any improvement, and I don't know if it went over global warming any, but there were, like, a lot of things in this show, and apparently this dinosaur show ended on a really, really dark note. Like, apparently the final episode is very interesting. It compares the dinosaurs to humans and how they'd been around for millions of years and how they'd stayed alive for a long time, and then basically, like, started, like, I think something along the lines of, like, there were problems with plants growing, and they tried to set off a volcano to get, like, things back to normal and to try and get the plants to keep growing, and it naturally didn't work out well, so it ended up, like, causing, like, severe weather problems, and I think it started to cause, like, snow to happen. I don't know how the details of it are, because I never watched the show, and apparently, like, the show ended with them, like, all dying off and going extinct, and that made me, like, really think about it, and, like, it's kind of dark when you really sit down and think, like, Jesus, they really ended a kid's show, or I guess you could call it a kid's show with, like, a plot line where the dinosaurs all went extinct. It's like, did not expect that for a show that's, like, really, really lighthearted and targeted at all audiences. Just doesn't feel like something you'd see, and probably wouldn't see out of more modern TV shows, to be completely frank. I mean, I just don't think that would roll as well in more modern shows. Fairly interesting little video. Like, I wish I could figure out what else I want to say about this, if anything else. I feel like I'd squeezed enough talk about it out, though, without going over too much. So, yeah, I talked about it as much as I feel like I want to discuss right at the moment. Actually, on that same matter, like, it's interesting looking back at, like, older shows, and there were, like, at least quite a few older shows that had, like, really, really dark endings, despite the fact that it was a kid's show and that obviously younger audiences would be watching them. So it's very, very interesting to see, like, all this and see all these topics, like, relating to, like, older shows. Like, one was about some gnomes live on a mountain and, like, helped out animals and stuff, and, like, I think the ending was, like, them going on the mountain and dying, and they were accepting their death as natural. Like, something's a little bit on the extreme side for another show that's targeted at little kids. It's like, maybe that's not the best way to end a kids show. I don't know. It feels like that might be going a little overboard with the ending. So I think if there's any other big ones that I remember that are, like, easy things to talk about. I remember He-Man ended off on a really bad note because the show was supposed to get a season 2 and they didn't get, like, the kind of ratings they wanted to continue He-Man, I think, so they ended up, like, letting the show die off and not get a full second season or whatever. Like, I think it got somewhat developed, but they didn't get to make it proper, so didn't exactly had the longest run and get to finish with its plot line. Other shows that have this exact same issue. What are there that I just need a moment or two. I might actually have to stray away from this topic a little bit and stop bothering to talk about it, but I'm trying to remember. Nothing I can immediately think of that came with, like, or came to an end on a dark note, like I just got done mentioning. Like, nothing immediately pops up in my head when I think about that, so I guess there's nothing else I need to bring up about that. Just trying to think it through really quick. I don't know if I want to bring up any more about talking about shows or not in terms of, like, TV shows, actually. Yeah, nothing's coming to mind right away. Okay, whatever then. Give me a second or two and I'll give us another topic that I think will be worth discussing and talking about for quite a bit. So, just a second while I flip through what I've got here for anything worthwhile to bring up. 1 second, I just gotta get this set up too while I'm doing it. Okay, so, 1 moment. This is gonna be a good long list of this for whatever I want to discuss, actually. There's a lot on my list here, so don't mind me. I'm just trying to decide what's the best thing I want to discuss at the moment, because there's a lot to see. Okay, this will be a decent subject for a little bit. I think we've talked about reading on the channel. You guys read any? I don't feel like I talk about this too much. Just a quick, wanted a refresher and, talk about this and, discuss another facet of this topic than just purely discussing it. I want to talk about something that I don't hear too often or see people talk about very often. You guys use, audiobooks or listen to, story readings any? I'm curious to hear about... We'll check this Pokédex, but I don't think we've had anything. Just double checking to be safe on this. Yeah, we haven't had an encounter for a shiny yet. We're still going to be going for some time. Still planning to try and tackle getting up to 800 encounters today, so this is going to be a rather lengthy stream regardless what happens. Anyway, like I was saying, you guys do reading any? Do you guys read any, or not read, do you guys, listen to audiobooks any? I'm curious, or do you guys not? I think I haven't done very much with that. There's something about audiobooks. They're not bad. They're not my favorite thing to do when it comes to reading. It can be kind of relaxing. One thing that's good about audiobooks is that you can just kind of set a thing up and then have it sit down and read a book for you. I think there's readers. I don't know if there's a program where you can get it to automatically start reading for you, but I would say it's kind of nice sometimes to have somebody sit there and just listen to somebody else reading it, and you just listen while you're doing whatever and hearing a story. Those are somewhat fun to mess around with. It's also a decent way to consume a form of media like a book or whatever without actually having to dedicate yourself to properly sitting down and reading it, because you're just listening to somebody else read it to you. You guys ever do that with any books, or do you guys avoid that? I don't even read that often nowadays. I sure as hell don't usually listen to audiobooks, but I remember I've done that quite a few times in the past. It'd be fairly fun, though. It's also a neat way to, try to listen to a book if you don't have the time to do it yourself. I think I spend most of my time on videos nowadays, so yeah. Speaking of books, any good book to adaptations you guys remember? Fun stuff that's decent for the topic of, good adaptations you guys can think of for, say, versions, good book adaptations made into movies, those kind of things that I meant to say. Excuse me 1 second, I'm just trying to find what I was looking for. Okay, there we go. I think we're good now. Like I was saying, where was I again? We got a little bit distracted. I was talking about books. Oh, right. Talking about movie adaptations. Harry Potter movies are pretty good adaptations, I think. I haven't really sat down and read the novels. I might need to sometime. Those are decent, though, and the movies seem like they're all pretty good. Harry Potter's a classic that I've enjoyed. It's watching and seeing the movies for a long time. They're always fun to listen to. See, another big one. Does Indiana Jones come from a book, or is it just a movie series? I'm not actually sure about that one. I'd have to double check. I was actually surprised when I double checked some of the book stuff, and apparently the Shrek movies are like actually based on a book. I don't know if the Shrek book is like actually that similar to how the movies are, though. Shrek's one of those fairly fun little movies and movie series to listen to. I always liked the Shrek movies. Those were fun, good watch, and I found them to be exciting. Maybe not the best movies, but they were good enough that I actually enjoyed watching them. So I'd say, yeah, I liked listening to the Shrek movies and just seeing how good they were. Those were something that I found to be fairly fun. The Shrek movies were alright. They weren't best movies, though. They were still good. Also, it'd be nice if the shiny could pop up soon. I was hoping I wouldn't have to go through 300 encounters today, but it's looking like I'm not going to get the shiny, and that's bothering me just a little bit, because I just hoping this would be a relatively quick shiny hunt. This looks like it could be leaning on being one of the other shiny hunts where it takes some time to get the shiny to pop up. I'm not going to be upset either way, but I mean, it'd be nice to get this fucking done and over with and just out of my system. I'd be happy to have no more obligation to doing this. I mean, I'm not technically obligated, but I mean, I'd like to be done and through with it and just not have to think about it. See, back to where we were talking about, though, good book and book adaptations that got turned into movies, basically. I remember Twilight was apparently another scenario of an adaptation from a book. I don't know how good that is. The Twilight series doesn't seem like it's a fantastic series. It seems like it's just a movie series made for girls to watch movies of guys that don't have any shirts on, so I don't really feel like I care much about the Twilight series overall. It's okay, but it's not something I love. I don't know. I heard a lot of people talk about it. I didn't really like the movies very much. To be fair, I haven't really properly watched them, but I doubt I would connect with them. It doesn't really seem like my type of movie. One movie that I remember specifically was really good that I liked was that Aragon movie. That was a fun one that I ended up really, really enjoying and found really, really good. Also, the Aragon book is a fairly good book, even though it's lengthy. Okay, here's something that I wanted to look up, actually, that I'm curious about. Like, why did the sequel... Hey, why did that movie never get a sequel? Hold on one second. One moment. One moment. Hold on a second. Did they actually make a movie on it? Because I'm looking and I see something and I look it up. That's weird. I remember not loving it extremely, but I remember it having a bad movie, and now I'm looking on Google and apparently people found the movie bad, because I watched it back in the day and I didn't think it was that bad. I don't recall anybody spouting out saying that it was terrible, so I don't really know why they didn't make another movie. One second. Reviews against it. One second. This is taking a second. I have to try to look at this very carefully while I read this, and I want to see this. The movie creator was hesitant to commit to producing later films in the franchise completed at the time. Well, I mean, doesn't stop you from making a movie on the books that are already out, unless your movie was not very good in the first place. It doesn't stop you from making a movie on that eldest book that was already there. Hold on a second, I want to read this a little bit. I've only ever sat down and read that book completely. I need to read it at some point, because I actually liked what I saw of it, and it was a decent movie. Let's see. So the guy, I'm reading this, the guy didn't want to make it because he didn't know how the books were going to end, which is kind of a weird reason. I guess I could sort of see that if you don't want to end up, like, basically creating a non-canon ending to the books, but still, it's really, really bizarre that they decided to, like, not make more movies purely because of the fact that they didn't have an ending and they couldn't have waited. I don't think it'd be that big of a deal to delay it a little bit. Apparently the book writer wasn't willing to give any information as to the future of the story, so didn't exactly encourage him to keep making more of this. Let me read this. I just want to see what it is. I'm going to get back to talking in a second. I want to see what this article says. So, seems like it just died the first movie, and sounds like it was basically them not wanting to make a sequel because of that, and it's like, I genuinely find it weird how they didn't actually try to make one. Hold on a second. Weird, there's a lot of people who are like, hate this movie, and I didn't find it terrible. It wasn't something I remember loving, but I didn't hate it completely. Alright, whatever, just wanted to look into that. Aragon was a pretty alright book from what I remember. It's a good read, actually, if you need something that's... Oh shit, yes! Oh my god, that was fast, actually. It happened way quicker than I was anticipating, and I can say I've got another shiny on the line now. Let's try to be very careful about this and try to get this. I think this is 660, so not a bad point to get our shiny. Hey Wayne, sorry if I didn't read the chat and see your message a little sooner. I just noticed it. I was checking on some stuff. How are you doing, man? Good to see you. I've been having a rather rough day myself. I've been feeling not great. Okay, how the fuck do I do this again? I don't want to kill it, obviously. I gotta be rather quick about this and rather careful. Maybe hammer arm. I've been through a lot of stuff, actually, talking about a lot of topics recently. There's been a lot of cool things going on. I think I mentioned the thing about, like, their online getting upgraded finally, which is actually kind of exciting. They're finally upgrading it a little bit and giving us something a little better to work with and not just the same shitty old online. Okay, that was a fucking unexpected crit. I'm not even gonna fucking chance any more fucking damage on this thing. I'm just gonna fucking start throwing Pokeballs immediately at it, because if I hit it again, it could kill it. I'm not gonna risk a shiny fail. Okay, where are my Premier Balls before I continue talking? But yeah, it's good they're finally going for trying to, like, upgrade their online. Took them long enough to fucking actually commit to fixing their servers. Like, good god. The fact we had to tolerate their shitty servers for so long is actually kind of embarrassing, but at least that's going to be a thing of the past now, thank god. Oh yeah, by the way, since we're talking on that news already, hopefully this catches. Yes, good, that was very quick and very much over with without any struggle. Okay, cool, we've got done with the Registeel. I'll do a little bit extra shiny hunting and we'll call it, because I don't want to go on for a super long time now that I got Registeel. I'd rather do this and get it over with and then we'll stop. I don't want to go into a long stream if I don't have to, basically. There was some other news, I don't know if you heard about it. There was some news about, like, I think it was news where, like, talk about Netflix stuff and some other company, I don't remember who, like, they talked, like, somebody came out and talked about how apparently Nintendo was working on a Star Fox series as well as that live-action Zelda series, so apparently a Zelda series and a Star Fox series got shit-canned by Nintendo, and I'm not going to lie, that's honestly kind of disappointing. I'd hate that, actually. Like, I'd hate to be negative, but god, Nintendo, you really shouldn't kill all your fucking projects just because somebody couldn't keep their mouth shut and leaked it. I think that's a really, really bad way to look at how to handle your fucking projects, and seems like Nintendo is really quick to handle things like that instead of trying to look into another situation. I wonder how many cool projects have died out because they haven't been willing to try to keep working on their projects after something like that happens. Okay, give me a second. I just wanted to bring that up because I know that's news, and I didn't know if you'd already heard about that news or not. I have some other stuff that I was talking about for a little bit. By the way, here's another thing. This is something that's just on my list that I was meaning to bring up that I haven't brought up yet. What was your guys' first game console? You don't have to, and actually it's not necessarily just video game console, but like, I want to talk about older games for a little bit. I was watching a stream recently. I'm going to put that fucking scissor back in just for the sake of full party. 1 second. But yeah, like I was saying, I was watching somebody do a stream Vinesaw stuff, basically, and it was like Vinny doing stream of some DOS games, and it was really, really fascinating to sit down and watch this video about DOS games and see, like, all these old-ass games that ran really, really poorly. I was curious to hear, like, what your guys' first experiences playing video games, if you haven't already talked about that, is, just because I thought that'd be a fun discussion point. Where the fuck is the entrance to the map Slayer again? Or am I just gonna have to fly there to save myself time? You know what, yeah, let's just say fuck it and fly there on the taxi. DOS games. Yeah, that was just a thing that I remembered from watching that. There were a lot of games there that was pretty funny to watch how crappy some of them were, to be honest. Like, I was listening to, not really listening, I was like watching and listening to like the old Castlevania DOS version, and my god, that was a hell of an experience to sit there and like watch it, honestly. The music in that, whoops, shit, the wrong thing for the summary. This is it. Yeah, I'm just double checking my shinies because I want to look at them all again. Regidrago, Regice, cool. Got Regirock. We've got a nice group here. I think Regirock's still sitting in the box, but whatever, I don't care. Also, give me a second to update my data for my shinies and save my game before I forget. I don't want to have any issues where I forget to save, so let's get this out of the way right now before it becomes an issue. But yeah, it was funny watching it. The audio quality was terrible. The game looked like it played worse, and funny seeing how bad it was. Like, the NES version was easily far superior to the DOS version of Castlevania, but it was actually just funny watching how old and kind of crusty looking the DOS version was. Wait a second, did I forget to fucking open up my thing for the Reggies? No, I got it open. Okay, we're still good. So yeah, what did you guys grow up on for your first console, though? I'm curious, just out of, like, interest in discussing this. I'm thinking on my first one, I think it was probably SNES. Even though I had a NES, I didn't properly play the NES. I want to talk more about DOS games in general, more than, like, consoles, and, like, let's talk a little bit on, like, the topic of DOS stuff for just a little while and see about some fun stuff. Hold on a second. Bad news. Looks like he got banned from streaming without notice. Wait, what happened? That's really weird. Let me, oh shit, I don't know if I hit the right raid. I need to double check the skins. That doesn't look like the right silhouette. Will I go get banned without notice, or is it just you? I don't know, honestly. I've never heard of that before today, so it's really, really interesting. I'm surprised they banned you without any warning or anything. Okay, I clicked on the wrong one, so I would explain why I didn't actually see what I was looking for when I was trying to find it. I don't think anything like that's happened to this channel, obviously, and I'm glad it hasn't, but that's like an actual scare. YouTube's... Oh shit, which one do I need again? Wigglytuff, since it's fairy, I guess. Anyway, like I was saying, I haven't heard anything about that, but like, that's weird. I've never heard of YouTube doing that before. YouTube's got a rather odd infrastructure for their streaming overall, though. Twitch isn't exactly a ton better, though, so it's whatever. I guess they're improving things a little bit. I heard YouTube introduced clipping on their stuff like finally, just recently, they've put together or featured and make clips, and it's like, gee, took you long enough. You only took like a year or two after Twitch to finally put in a fairly basic feature that most like streaming sites would already consider a priority, and it's a fairly big one if you're competing with Twitch. Like, a little weird they didn't make clipping a thing quicker. Also, shit, I didn't even think about the fact this is a steel Pokemon. Shit, I went into type weakness by accident. Whatever, though. Let's see, what were you talking about again? Just a second. Aside from the obvious that I just mentioned, I'm just gonna fucking do it because, yeah, I'm the only one who's gonna fucking Dynamax if I don't, so whatever. YouTube's made a lot of weird decisions. Also, do you guys notice how last year they didn't even do a YouTube Rewind? Like, I'm not gonna say they're good, but, like, it's funny how people apparently fucking put up that YouTube Rewind, or Mr. Beast put up a YouTube Rewind, then YouTube did, like, fuck all last year, I guess. Because of the coronavirus, they didn't bother to make one. The Mr. Beast YouTube Rewind thing was pretty good. Violated terms of service. How and why? Wait, what happened? What happened to your account? I'm actually curious what they said and what they did, because kind of lame they would potentially ban you without, like, giving you a lot of reason for it. Like, they should at least have to specify why they're banning you rather than just banning you and then running away without saying another word. I've had one of my videos, like, marked as 18 and older against my consent on YouTube before, so I get the impression they're more than willing to do stupid shit like this without asking people first, which is kind of lame. I don't know, YouTube's kind of gone downhill just a little bit in recent years. Not completely, but I mean, not been great overall either. To the wrong account. That's odd. I wonder what happened to your account. I hope things get resolved, though. Sucks to see that you got stuck with fucking account problem and Twitch is just being fucking silent. Or not Twitch, I mean YouTube being silent and not saying anything. Although Twitch has been fucking worse and more ban happy. Hold on a second. I wanted to talk about the DOS games and talk about a certain DOS game, and if I need to remember the name of this, like, just right. Ross Scott, and I think it's called Helios? Let me double check this. It's like a big one that's worth talking about, unless I... Whoops, one second. Helios, see if this is the one I'm thinking of for a video he did. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So I'm curious, how many of you guys here have heard of Helios in terms of DOS games? There was actually something that was made, I don't know, it was like in the 90s or something. I had to double check my stuff to see exactly when, but there was some DOS game that got released a long time ago, and there was an interesting story that accompanied like this game getting released. Basically, the guy who made this made like a thing where he basically, it was like a story that was included with the game, and I think there might have been more to it, but like there was like a thing where it was this guy made a thing that's basically said that he was like abducted by aliens, and that this game was made by aliens. A really weird, really strange like thing that was up on in the game, and made a lot of people question it for fair reason, because it just sounded like it was complete BS and didn't sound entirely plausible. It had a fucking long story that actually sounded a little bit convincing. I don't know if I'd say super convincing. It's really odd. Got a very like, it's so much text most people wouldn't read it, but the idea behind it was fairly interesting, and nobody knows if it's actually true. The game itself isn't super exciting looking. It's like you play with like a balloon and do like puzzle levels or something. I'm not entirely certain if I remember the plot line of it too much. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great either, but it was okay, and the game was supposedly made by aliens and like given to this guy. Really weird, really strange, like a thing that was up on this like a very bizarre or like story for a video game that I've never seen anything quite like it before. Just a really strange kind of story that makes you sit down and think about the validity of it and whether or not it's actually good and like it's actually true. Really, really bizarre topic that I wanted to bring up that related to DOS games. I wish I could remember all the games I saw on the DOS stream that I was thinking of. There's some pretty decent ones that were fairly interesting to discuss, but I don't remember a lot of them by their name, actually. It's amazing how we were able to, like, get along with, like, basic stuff back in the day and not really care as much about quality. I remember one that was kind of like Zelda-looking, though, and it was like a dungeon crawler game, looked like a modern roguelite. The sound effects were fucking terrible. Also, there was another one that had, like, a lot of fart-sounding noises. There were a lot of really old-looking games. Thinking here. I think the Elder Scrolls games, like the first two, were DOS games, weren't they? I don't think they were played on this stream, actually. Like, I know there's the Elder Scrolls Daggerfall, and there's the Elder Scrolls Arena, or whatever. Those are, like, the big ones. And did I forget the fucking Dynamax shit? I didn't even realize that I hadn't touched the Dynamax button. Whatever, though, not a big deal. Still. Anybody played those two, like the first two Elder Scrolls games? I'd like to catch up on some of the really old games eventually, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'd like to try playing one of those two, and I haven't played, like, any of it properly besides a little bit of Skyrim. I don't find it to be bad. In fact, I actually like the Elder Scrolls series okay. Wouldn't say it's my favorite. Though, I haven't played enough of it. I think Morrowind's when it really picked up. Let's see here. I was thinking on this exact thing, actually. So, right, there's Daggerfall, Arena, Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. I played Skyrim, that's really... I think I had Oblivion for a bit and never really picked it up. I'd like to try the games, though. They seem pretty good. Also, on terms of other old games I was mentioning that I forgot about and almost didn't bring up, like, apparently the first two Grand Theft Auto games are really different. Like, the first one is fucking like a... I think it might have been a 2D game for DOS or something. I'm not actually super certain about, like, the exact details of it. It seems like it was a fairly different game. From what I remember, I think there's, like, a fairly interesting history regarding Grand Theft Auto as well, because I'm pretty sure it's, like, set up with, like, Grand Theft Auto is series that has fair and interesting origins, and on top of that, there's the fact that, it's fairly interesting for its origins, and they almost ended up making a completely different game. I think they were making some cops and robbers style game. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I've been, like, sitting there playing some Saints Row recently, like playing through Saints Row the 3rd again. Pretty fun game. I need to play through those again sometime. Those are fairly fun games. Really weird, really wacky, but very much a game that I I enjoyed playing through and found to be fun. I like the way how it's goofy and it's not taking itself super seriously. That's something that's kind of nice, actually. But give me a second or two. I need to look at my stuff and what I want to talk about for just a second. I don't know what happened in the chat room. You okay, Wayne? Still there? Everything working? Just checking, because I haven't seen any messages from you. I'm not sure if you're still there or not. Gotta double check. Okay, let's see here. Give me a second. I'm just looking at what I want to talk about, because I've already talked about a lot here. I think we talked about the AVGN review already. Wait, I need to... Oh, I don't have the Dynamax ready yet. Never mind. Oh, well, whatever. Here's another fun topic I can discuss that I haven't brought up on the chat and I was wanting to for a little bit. We've talked about pets a little bit. So I'm curious to hear in general, like, what's everyone's favorite animals? You can talk about pets if you want to, but I'm thinking, like, animals you've seen through, like, videos or in the wild, not normal, like, pet animals, stuff that you wouldn't normally see people talking about, and you see in, like, various things like a video on Reddit or whatever. Like, what's your favorite animal from those kind of things that you guys like to see? I like to watch, like, certain animal videos and see all sorts of stuff. There's a lot of fun videos to watch in that regard, especially animals that are friendly with people. One animal that I really like and I know is something we're not supposed to really interact with and wouldn't be a good idea is, like, seals seem really great for animals. Seals are very friendly from the looks of, like, videos. You see seals come up and greet people all the time. They'll come up and walk out of the water and they'll try to get friendly and cuddly with the person, although apparently seals have some kind of disease or something they can spread. I'm not certain about the details if you interact with them and they bite you, so not the best reason to try and interact with them. They're very cute, though. They act a lot like dogs. I think seals are adorable, and I like watching videos of them. Fairly majestic-looking animals, too. Although, there is another thing about seals I don't like. Seals, what I recall, are the #1 predator that kill penguins, and I like penguins. I don't know why. Something about penguins are, like, they're a fun animal to watch, and they seem really cute. They don't seem like they're unfriendly. I don't know if they're that friendly, but penguins are the kind of animals that I think a lot of people like. Fascinating bird species. I've always thought they looked cool, though, and I remember reading some book about them when I was younger. Like, penguins always seemed like a interesting type of animal to talk about to me. Like, they don't seem like they're huge on human interaction, but they don't seem unfriendly. And I remember reading a book about somebody who, like, had a penguin that they ended up unintentionally getting stuck with them, and they had to take care of it at their home. Really, really interesting book. I think it was like Mr. Popper's Penguins or something. It's been a long time since I saw that or read that, so I haven't really got the best memory of it, but it was a fairly interesting little book. Something that was alright, and I enjoyed it. Oh, cool. Just fucking use your one fighting type move that I haven't really seen this thing ever utilize on me that was not expecting to happen. Great. Okay, whatever. Cool game. Just fucking kill me, why don't you, even though 90% of the time I'm usually not in too much danger of being killed by the boss. I think we've got, like, maybe 2 lives we can lose at most here. Give me a second or two. I need to update something for the sake of getting another, or, like, sprite thing on the screen. I'm gonna have to do it later, I'm not sure. 1 second. Wait, that's weird. What the fuck? Why'd I in the wrong folder when I wasn't trying to? Give me a second. I'm looking for a sprite for Latios, actually. Oh no, we're getting near the loss right now, and I don't like that. Oh god, can we survive this, please? That'd be cool. If we don't fucking lose, I'd be very happy. Why can't I find what I'm trying to search in my thing? Not really a big deal, but still. Okay, we're alive. Fuck. I need to go first, like, really badly. It'd be cool if I could fucking finish this without a loss, please, please. Do not let us roll the last attack here. Okay, I found what I was looking for, I think, finally. At least I think so. But yeah, what's your guys' favorite animals you guys have seen in the wild? I was talking about that. I got a little sidetracked. I wanted to discuss that some more, though. I think that's a fun, easy enough discussion point. Oh, thank God. It picked the wrong target to make us lose. Except it hit the fucking Frostlass. Great. Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I had a feeling this might happen, but still. God damn it. This should be a unicorn? I guess so. Horses are alright, that's what you're posting. I'm not actually sure. I don't know if any of these guys are shiny. I can't tell. I don't think any of these guys have super noteworthy shinies. No? Okay, just checking. Other animals. Or messages. I think your messages didn't show up in the chat. I think your messages glitched out. I haven't seen a single message on the stream since you mentioned the thing where you were saying you're going to check on what's going on with your YouTube. I would like to get this, but I can't get Giratina right now because I've got Latios as my focus, so I'm not going to bother with that. Let's try this again. The AI let me down pretty hard, though. Whatever, we'll just try again. I'm going to fucking keep going for it, and might bother to go online if it goes bad enough. Where were we? Shit. I'll just do this, I guess. Yeah, if you need to, repost your messages, I guess. I don't know what happened on YouTube chat, but it does not seem like any messages you sent went through whatsoever for some reason. I guess YouTube's fucking glitched out today and not working correctly. Just my luck that the chat room would be kind of glitchy for some reason. So, ghost, ice, ghost. Okay, it seems easy enough to work with. Other animals. I normally can think of this. Oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to mention... I think I've talked about it once on stream. I don't feel like it's a big deal to bring it up again, though. You guys ever seen that, like... This is relating to the animal thing I was talking about. You guys ever seen that video for that thing with, like, boxes? There's two of them that I can think of. One of them is a video where it's, like... Video of this little area in Japan, and there's, like, a place where there's a bunch of foxes, and it's called Fox Village. It's like a whole bunch of foxes that were kind of raised by people, and they're fairly tame. It's a very interesting video. Like, these foxes act kind of the same way cats and dogs do, and they interact with people fairly well. They seem like they are very, very... Like, they'll try to steal stuff sometimes, but they genuinely act like you'd expect out of a pet. Really, really interesting. Like, the video shows them fighting and eating all these other things, coming up to people to get food. It's neat to see, like, another animal. It's not a dog or a pet, or a dog or a cat, excuse me. It's like something that could be actually living in your house is like another fairly sized animal. Like, I don't know if that'll ever happen. It'd be interesting if foxes do get domesticated, but, like, watching this video was interesting, and it's apparently not the only, like, resource of this ever happening, because there's actually another video where somebody has, like, a video of, like, foxes that have been caged up, and they'd slowly tamed them up over time, and the foxes, like, kind of grew to the point where they tolerated humans, and they seemed to be cool with interacting with people. It's really, really interesting to watch. But some Russian guy who went through the process of, like, slowly breeding them until, like, all the ones that didn't want anything to do with humans were out of the mix, until, like, more tame foxes were around and less hostile ones. Really, really interesting to see, like, person interacting with them in this environment. Really, really neat little video. I think there's also, like, a YouTuber that I'm not certain of, the name, but, like, has a channel where they have, like, a box, and they basically make videos of their box that they have. Like, I think it's called Finnegan Fox or whatever. I'm not really sure about the name of that. I'd have to double check on that to see exactly what the name of it is. Also, is YouTube chat okay? I have not seen any messages popping up besides, like, the one where you asked me if your messages are working or not. I don't know if the YouTube chat's broken or if it's something else or what, because I'm not seeing anything pop up in chat. And you mentioned that I didn't read any of your messages from, like, 4 or 5 minutes ago or more, and I don't see any new messages popping up now either, actually. It's just the same messages from earlier. Let's get the AI to take it, hopefully. That'd be good. Okay, cool. This thing on animal videos that I just discussed, like, any more that I want to bring up, actually. There was something, if I could remember what it was. I remember I watched a lot of interesting ones on the Dodo channel. There was one about, like, what was it, a deer that got nursed back to health. That was really cute to see. The deer, there was, like, really trusting of people after that. That was a very good video. Hold on, let me see. Okay, now I can attack. Rockfall, sure. Actually, you know, I should have switched my Pokemon. Whatever. It's not a big deal. I'll switch for the ghost ahead. Animal cartoons. Seems like I'm talking to animals. Just talking in general? I don't mind those. Those are not really something I'd say I watch very often or make a habit out of watching, but I think those are alright. I don't really pay much attention to them, though. I haven't really gone out of my way to watch those kind of videos. They're not bad. Also, another video type that I forgot about that's pretty good, like, relating to this thing is, like, I've seen, like, a few videos of, like, people who have, like, say, like, monkeys or, like, wildcats or whatever. They have, like, those they've raised. Like, I could only imagine how much effort it must take to fucking have a pet, like a monkey or a, like, say, a puma, I think one of the guys has. I know there's, like, a cougar and there's some, I don't know if it's a puma or what, I think it's a puma. There was something like that. And then there was one where there's, like, guy who owns a whole bunch of stuff, like lions and tigers and stuff, and it's like, can you imagine, like, the kind of temperament this guy must have to be able to, like, get along with all these, like, dangerous animals and be friendly with them and have them actually care about him? Like, I can only imagine how, like, good a person you have to be able to be that good at keeping, like, a calm, easy connection to these animals and not potentially accidentally crossing a line the animal doesn't like, and then you're in the wrong area in the wrong time, you might end up being a lion snack. Like, I couldn't possibly imagine fucking taming a lion like that or anything. That must be something that's fairly threatening, and yet the guy's able to do it like it's nothing, and just fucking completely, he does it like it's not a big deal at all. Can I read that? Yeah, I'm seeing your typing. I haven't read your prior message, and I saw that one, but I've only seen, like, the messages you just sent, those two, and the one before that. I haven't seen any others than those. I've been watching the chat room for messages, just in case. I don't know if any of the messages have not been going through. I wonder if YouTube's filtering for chat might be broken. Actually, let me try something. Let me click on the... Wait, where's the... That's weird. What the fuck? When I look at YouTube's chat, and I don't know if it's a change or what. When I look at YouTube's chat, I can't see the thing for, like, top chat anymore. It just shows live chat for some reason. I don't know why it's not showing me top chat. I don't know if there's something wrong with YouTube's thing. I can't seem to show top chat in my chat room, which I'd like to, so I can see if there's any messages I missed, and I don't see an option to switch it. Did they take the fucking top chat up at the fucking streaming dashboard? What the fuck? That'd be a stupid decision. Not that YouTube's fucking unwilling to make stupid decisions for no reason, because they've made a lot of dumb decisions for no reason. Must be dead. You sent like 5 messages. That's really weird. I don't know what the fuck is going on with YouTube then. YouTube's probably been having some glitches today. I don't know what the fuck to say besides, yeah, YouTube's acting kind of stupid and not working as good as it could today, so yeah, been a bit of a weird scenario regarding that. Also, I think I killed 2 Latios for fucking adding my counter. I was meaning to add that and I fucking forgot. Try one more time, the time is dead. I can read your message right now, but I don't know if YouTube's fucking glitching on us or what. I don't know why I can't fucking search. I can search, I can't look at the fucking top chat messages in my chat room right now, so I can't even, like, verify if there's any messages that I've missed that YouTube's tried to filter out, so I don't know what the fuck is going on with YouTube today, but it seems like, for some reason, it wants me to miss out on messages, which is really fucking stupid and really fucking annoying, but I mean, whatever, don't really care at this point, not really gonna get frustrated over it. It sucks if it's interfering with you guys' ability to use the chat, though. I would prefer YouTube actually fucking does its job and works correctly, obviously. Nope, not taking anything. I'd hope the AI would be smart about their decision-making, too. Why do you throw away the ice Pokemon we literally just got for fucking nothing? My god. Whatever. Anyway, where was I? I'm sorry if I got a little bit sidetracked. 1 second. Something on my thing that I was going to look at, and where was it? I was meaning to bring up something important, and I can't see it now. Give me a second or two. Well, in the meantime, I've got another subject that'll be decent to talk about. So, here's a fun little discussion that may not be a big deal. You guys don't have to discuss if you don't want to. What are some fun, like, school projects you guys worked on when you were younger? Curious to hear about any fun things you guys have done through school. I remember a few things, like, from computer class, and I remember science projects, and I remember we did, like, woodwork and welding. We had a lot of different things we did. Oh, great. The fucking ability's going to be blocking us from doing a lot of damage. That's just great. Some chat messages come and go. Some messages appear, some don't. Yeah, there's probably relating to... That's probably relating to YouTube being dumb and filtering shit that it shouldn't for no reason. Honestly, I have no idea why the fuck YouTube is filtering out messages, though. I don't know what it's doing. Actually, you know, I found that I was looking for. I'm gonna put my mouse where I can see it, too, and put this where I'll remember to read it, but I'm gonna continue with what I was talking about. What did you guys do for fun school projects? I'm curious to hear about that. We can discuss this first since I brought it up. I don't think I did a lot for woodwork, even though I mentioned it. One thing I remember we did for woodworking is we made, like, birdhouses. Birdhouses were okay. It was a fun little project, I guess. Nothing crazy. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something to get super excited over. I don't remember ever doing any other, like, major woodworking project. I might be misremembering, but there's nothing that comes to mind that I recall doing. I know we did welding, and I don't remember if we ever welded anything, like, to make, like, a serious project. I just remember we did welding and cutting stuff just to, like, learn it. That was a alright activity, not anything great. Science definitely had the best, like, projects, though science had fun stuff that we could do at some points. Like, dissecting wasn't great, but, like, mixing stuff and, like, seeing chemical reactions was great, and I enjoyed that, and a lot of our science projects were fun. I think we did, like, the bottle rocket as a science project at one point. That was a good one. We had science fairs like every other school did. Those were interesting and fairly okay. I don't know if I'd say they were my favorite thing. They were fun to check out. Science, it's between science and art, I think, for my favorite, like, classes for, like, doing projects, because there were a lot of them, but I can't think of any others that really particularly encouraged you to work on projects. You guys do, like, did you guys do art classes, or did you guys, like, do you guys do art any? I'm curious to hear about that in general, actually. Just, like, you guys did do any art, or if it was just, like, only so many people went through with it. I think art's one of the more fun classes to experience, though. There were a lot of things we got to experiment with, like, different drawing experiences, or painting, or whatever, and we got to make stuff with clay or whatever. We could... I remember there was one day we did, like, a project where we had to do, like, stuff, like, on a time limit. We had to do, like, I think it's, like, 10 seconds for drawing something, like, one for a minute, I think one for 5 to 10 minutes or something like that. Do, like, several different drawings and see how the results turned out based on how little time we had to work with. Do I eat? Yeah, I eat. I don't know why you're asking. That's a little weird as a question. Not that it's a big deal. Just like, I mean, I eat, but obviously I don't try to eat on stream any. I mean, not gonna eat right now, obviously. Oh, do I eat donuts? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that's all about. Why it'd filter that? That's really, really bizarre to me. Why they wouldn't just let that fucking pass through the filter and let me fucking read that. YouTube's being stupid today, I can tell, and not really fucking working correctly, I can tell. Give me a second or two. I'm gonna look for where the fuck I put this in my things so I can, like, check it. Okay, yeah, there's the thing I was looking for. And then the other thing I was gonna mention is school project. Or not something to say be vlogging, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Where's our timer at for today's stream? We're at about 2.5 hours. You know what? We'll fucking continue, and I'm gonna do one more set of raids after this, and then, or one more raid after this, and then we're gonna stop the Latios shit altogether for today, and we'll continue it tomorrow since I got done with my target shiny hunt. Donuts are good though. Donuts are fucking great. I like donuts. They're fantastic food. I'm a sucker for good pastries in general. There's a lot of things I do like in terms of that kind of stuff. I like a lot of sweets. You guys eat bagels, or do you guys not care about them? I'm curious just because, like, I personally don't like bagels, but I would like to hear your guys' thoughts on them. I think I've had them a few times. They're alright. I think it depends on exactly what you eat it with. Bagels can be really good or not that great, depending on who you ask. I think the problem with bagels is it feels like they don't really have, like, a hugely easy flavor to describe. They're kind of good when they're paired with, like, coffee and alright to eat, but otherwise I don't find I really care about bagels a whole lot. They're good food, but they are not one of my favorites. They're alright. They're kind of similar to donuts in looks. I thought it'd be a different and decent thing to bring up and talk about for a little bit, actually, because why the fuck not? I like bagels okay, though. They're pretty good. Another thing I really like in terms of, like, sweets, I don't know if this would count as pastry. I guess it's a pastry, yeah. To say, like, one thing I really enjoyed, I'm a sucker for cupcakes. Cupcakes are really good. I cannot get enough of cupcakes. I will eat a lot of cupcakes and pig out on them if you give me the chance to. Cupcakes were always, like, one of my favorite things to eat. I probably eat them more than I do, like, actual cake, to be honest, even though I don't eat them that often, but cupcakes are fucking good, really good. It's like the sweetness of a cake, except I find it to be a little bit sweeter, and you get a whole bunch of them, and you can just eat them at your own leisure. I like that about cupcakes. Really, really good. Let's see, what are some other pastries I haven't mentioned that are good, besides, like, the obvious of, like, pies and donuts. Those are not pies and cake, because everybody talks about those, and I don't feel like I want to bring them up right away. Actually, I do have another thing I can think of that I haven't brought up, actually. One immediate topic that comes to mind is talking about cookies, actually. What are your guys' favorites for cookies? I'm curious to hear, like, genuinely, what do you guys like for cookies as your favorites? Okay, let me catch this in a Premier Ball, and then we can check it for shiny. I got my thing here, just a second. I'm going to update my list now that I finally got it set where I need it. Also, it's not guaranteed to work. I'm going to reload the page and just see if the chat fixes, but I have a good feeling that it's not going to fucking fix itself even if I reload, so we'll just see what happens here. I'm willing to bet it's going to fucking not fix. Wait, hold on a second. I wanted to just check something. Is the screen cut off on your guys' end some? It looks like it's cut off when I look at the feed from the video for some reason. Like, I can't see the whole corner of the screen. That's weird. I don't know what the fuck that is. I'm sorry if there is cut off. I don't know why it's not showing the whole screen. Let's just double check everybody here. No shinies. Okay. Just had to get a verification. Let me check this on the live page. I'm curious if the video's fucking broken or if it's just like a weird glitch on my end, actually. That's weird. When I check the live page, it's fine, but the YouTube, like, preview page shows a fucking glitch in the way it's, like, showing. That doesn't make any sense, but whatever. Also, yeah, chat still isn't working. I'll try putting a message in here to make sure it's good, though. Seems like it took the message, so... Okay, I guess it's working. Okay, let me check something really fast before we continue. We got one more... And encounter, or yeah, one more encounter I'm going to do for Latios, and we're going to stop after this, just because I don't feel like I want to do any more after that. Give me a second. I'm just looking for what I need in my thing. Okay, that's bigger than I want it. Give me a second to downsize this. It's pretty big, but let's see. Get this a little smaller, where it's like that maybe. Shrink it just a little more. There, that ought to be plenty good, and there we go. That looks good enough that it'll probably work for how the stream overlays set up. There we go. Just make sure we can easily edit that. Okay, cool. Are any of your messages not passing through, or what? I can't tell. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do something and see if it helps with the chat room. Give me a second. Let's see if I can see a test to see if I can read chat messages here. Okay, one second. I'm just looking at this for a moment. Oh, wait, it's on top chat right now, but... Okay, that's weird. When I checked it and, like, popped out the chat room, it actually didn't show any more messages. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know if YouTube's trying to filter through the messages that are showing up on my stream or what. I am genuinely uncertain why it would be filtering all your message. Oh shit, did I hit the wrong one? God damn it. I swear to God, I thought I hit the right raid when I was trying to do this, but whatever. Let's try this again. I think it was the wrong one. Maybe I'm just crazy and not looking at it carefully. Oh no, I guess it was. Whatever, we'll just go. If it's the wrong target, looks good. It's bad, I'm right. Yeah, I figured there was something off about this. Or are you talking about the overlay? I don't know what the fuck is going on with YouTube. I checked on the stream myself and saw that it wasn't, like, displaying correctly when I was looking at the video. I don't know why the fuck stream's, like, broken and not letting me fucking... and have a normal, like, look at the fucking stream when I try to check it on the live page. That's, like, really, really odd, actually. Okay, this overlay looks good, but I'm gonna move it over, like, right here where I can see the... it's where it's not blocking off any of the screen, actually. There we go. So what have we got here? Fairy, water, ice, steel, dragon. Okay, fairy this way, and we'll go for the dragon at the end. What are we on again? It's talking about, I think... I can't read it. I just put a test message in the chat, so I don't know if there was... I mean, it shouldn't be anything he didn't read or not, actually. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. If it's breaking, my bad. I don't know why it would be, but... fucking this... sometimes I feel like YouTube just does not want to fucking work correctly. Anyway, like I was saying, talking about food stuff, and he brought up, like, donuts. I figured I would... continue talking about that a little bit. I think I had mentioned, like, what's everyone's favorite foods. I wanted to hear, like, opinions on this, actually, and see what you guys like for your favorite, like, pastries you guys enjoy. What's everyone's favorite cookie type? That's what we last talked about, I think. I think I can't really name my exact favorite. I think oatmeal, if I had to pick exactly, because I'm not certain otherwise. Oatmeal's good, and I find that I enjoy eating oatmeal cookies, so those are high up there for me. But recently, over the last few years, I've been, like, trying out more types of cookies just to, like, have some more stuff. And one I genuinely really enjoy that I like eating, like, cookies I've gotten, I'd say one of my favorites would be chocolate chunk cookies. Chocolate chunk are usually really tasty. Chocolate chunk are very, very good in my opinion, and easily a favorite for me. Not my all-time favorite, probably, but chocolate chunk is like everything about chocolate chip, except more chocolate and even tastier, so hard not to like chocolate chunk. They're pretty good. Also, macadamia nut are pretty good too, but I feel like macadamia nut, while they're good, they're kind of meant to be eaten in, like, moderation, because the taste gets a little bit... there gets to be a little bit much if you eat too many of them, so can't exactly go off and eat, like, a ton of macadamia nut cookies. They're still good, though. They're really, really good, in my opinion, so I genuinely enjoy eating those. What's your guys' favorite type of cookie out of curiosity? I know there's been like a lot of weird ones and like flavors and like some places like Subway's have been, Subway's been making like a bunch of new flavors for them. There was one like, what was it called again? It was like raspberry lemonade or something, a weird flavor that I haven't seen anywhere else, so I would say that's a fucking weird one that I've seen and don't really understand. Something else, if I could remember what the fuck it was, that was like new cookie flavor they did that's really odd. I think they did a pumpkin flavor one, which isn't bad because pumpkin spice dust got more popular and I like pumpkin overall, but it's still a little odd of a flavor. I should have tried those. I don't think I ever did, though, unfortunately. We need to see if they're actually any good. Also, shit, I didn't even realize. I just walked into a battle with, like, one attack I can fucking use, and that's it. Oh, my fingers. Hold on a second before I fucking read the message I missed out on. God, ow. But yeah, I guess I'm done with the cookie talk for right now. I'm talking about desserts. We can talk about it more later if you guys want to, but I'm going to stop the dessert talk for right now. So we can talk about the vlogging thing at another point like I was going to. It doesn't matter about that. We'll see. Maybe I'll talk about it now if I find that I have a reason to still, but I might end up running out of time for that point. I'm so glad I decided to come online today because I was almost taught myself out of it, and then I got my fucking Registeel when I did, like, really fast. Even though it wasn't super duper fast, it was still fairly easy to get it, so I got my hands on it in fairly quick time. Let me see here. 8 games. Shit, I fucking type my, or not type, but I mean fucking put my fucking actions in the game and make sure I fucking do that before I start reading. It was the kicking system. And for no reason at all. I had many kicks in multiplayer games. Yeah, I can relate to that. Whenever there's a kicking system in games, I find a lot of times people abuse it. Sometimes it's good, but there's a lot of points where people just kick you for no reason. They'll do really toxic crap, or they'll do just really stupid shit that nobody wants to put up with that you can find in games that have a kicking system. And I get the point behind it. It's to get friends together in some scenarios, or to get rid of people who are cheating or like causing problems for the server. But I feel like there's a lot of points where a kicking system can be abused. I'd agree with you on the fact that kicking systems are genuinely annoying sometimes, and I don't love them. I'm not going to say they're never okay, but they're usually just not that good 90% of the time. See, things didn't use more time than nothing. They're pointless. Yeah, they usually aren't very good from what I've seen. They're usually crappy. Speaking of that exact same thing, I don't really love dealing with that in games, whether it be kicking or like banning or whatever. Like voting systems in games usually aren't a lot of fun to deal with because people will abuse it. Also, one thing I fucking would love to bring up, it's not really a big deal, but it's annoying, like a thing that's something I don't like in games I've bumped into sometimes, is when you fucking deal with people who are assholes that run a server and they are very edge quick to fucking just have like really shitty fucking an attitude and don't treat people in their server very well. They'll pick on you or whatever, they'll kick you or ban you, and even though that's annoying, one thing I can't stand even more than that when I deal with like certain servers, there's a thing some games have, it's a feature they call like a fucking gag on, like one of their features they call for like one of the, it's like a gag thing, and basically it forces a fucking mute on a person and doesn't let them talk in the chat room. It's like, won't let you talk on mic and won't let you chat over like microphone. It's like, I'm sorry, but if you're really running a server and you can fucking bother to kick somebody or ban somebody, and you want to be you fucking go through the route of fucking gagging somebody just because you don't want to fucking kick them or whatever, it's like, really? You just make yourself look like a giant bitch if you're just like unwilling to just fucking kick somebody out of a server just because is the fact that you would rather fucking try to fuck with somebody and mess with them with, like, final form of interaction to get the last laugh. It's like, you look so much less of an asshole when you just fucking ban somebody out of your server. But it's actually just a fucking shitty and terrible fucking thing to do, to just try to fucking win by, like, haha, I took your fucking ability to speak away on my server. You can't actually fight back because I gagged you. It's like, that's something I think is, like, really fucking stupid. I don't see that very often in games anymore, but I can't stand seeing that shit in games. I find it to be fucking really obnoxious. Because they're bored or whatever. Yeah, I know about that. That's something that's not fun. Or they have a silly name. And hard to kick. I don't understand why the fuck people will do shit like that. There's some really fucking asshole-ish people out there that pull dumb shit like that. I'm not gonna say I've never done anything like that in a game with, like, trying to kick somebody for a reason that wasn't perfect. Because I remember when I was younger, I did that and I regret it because it wasn't like I was trying to be an asshole, but I think it's like trying to get it, like, all friends in a server or whatever, and it makes you, thinking about it makes me feel bad. It's like, a lot of people didn't deserve it. One thing I don't like, though, is like when you get into a game and you deal with, like, a troll. That's one thing, and you can't get a troll kicked out of a lobby. Somebody that's fucking ruining the fucking server, like Left 4 Dead. Like, I've seen, like, a lot of people go on Left 4 Dead and fucking start griefing a server, and then it gets impossibly hard to kick them out because the fact it's only 4 people and 4 votes, and it means that the only way you're going to get somebody kicked out if you have, like, 4 people is you have to pray to God that your fucking group actually fucking makes certain they have 3 people kick. So you have to have the majority willing to kick, and if you don't, then yeah, it's just going to be fucking nothing gets resolved, and the troll will just stay in the server. I don't like that kind of kicking system because it's usually just fucking irritating to work around, not a fun thing to deal with. Ugh. I can relate to what you were talking about. Kicking in games in general, I feel like, induces a lot of fucking toxicity and gives people a fucking holier-than-thou attitude a lot of times when it really shouldn't. It's like people get a fucking big ego. What am I doing? I just realized after all this time I've been sitting here, I think I have a berry attack. Maybe I'm wrong, that I could have been using to fucking kill this thing earlier. Whatever, though. Let's see. Speaking, I guess, well, I'm just going to change topics. Actually, I don't want to change right away and talk about anything else immediately. So I got something else I do want to discuss that I almost forgot about that relates to what I was talking about here. What's your guys' like least favorite multiplayer experience you've dealt with in a video game? Like, what's your least favorite multiplayer game you've played? Okay, so I don't actually have any fairy moves. I wasn't certain. But yeah, it's one game you guys can remember playing that you genuinely didn't enjoy playing, like, in the past? Like, games you found to be really bad and aren't worth playing multiplayer? I remember, like, a Call of Duty was popular for a long time. I never played it properly, but I've heard a lot of stories about, like, Call of Duty and, like, how you see a lot of kids on Call of Duty and they'll fucking come on the same shit and, like, fucking do shit like they talk about saying they fucked your mom or whatever. Those kind of stupid things like kids say on COD. That's one thing I would assume is like a naturally unfun environment to deal with for multiplayer games. Not something I genuinely feel like would be something I would want to deal with, or really probably anybody would want to deal with. I don't know, I've never really seen the appeal of COD. It seems like it's same cookie cutter bullshit every game and not really changed a whole lot between entries. I couldn't really get into it. I guess I can sort of see where people buy it, but I feel like buying the same game over and over again would just get to be a point where it's not that interesting. I don't know. I don't really love the idea behind it, and I haven't played it properly, but I don't feel like I'd ever have any interest in Call of Duty. Also, you might be fucking screwed. This Latios only has to kill one Pokemon and we're fucking dead. I probably should have fucking... Oh no, maybe not. Maybe there's a chance that I can survive more than I realized. See, other bad multiplayer experiences I'm thinking here on what all I've been through. Remember when I played TF2 back in the day? TF2 was alright, but I remember the community got increasingly toxic over the years and a lot harder to, like, play games with because it was always same kind of assholes who would, like, they'd get really, really rude and, like, shit talk everybody and start, or, like, bad mouthing everybody in the server just because they weren't doing as good as they wanted to. The kind of people who took the game, like, way too seriously, and those are the kind of people I really don't like dealing with in multiplayer. It's like, it's a fucking video game. Chill the fuck out instead of fucking screaming at everybody in the server and, like, having a fucking panic attack. The fact you're fucking, like swearing at people and fucking, like, calling them names or like, trying to insult people because they're not doing good enough in a video game. It's like, maybe you should take a step back from the computer and stop playing games for a little bit instead of fucking getting angry at everybody who's just trying to have fun in the game. They always made it about winning. And also another thing I didn't like about TF2, I would get a lot of problems with, like, people in servers just in general, where sometimes I'd deal with people who would fucking and try to attack me. If you, I don't know what else to say, like, they'd insult you and try to pick a fight just for fucking playing the game, whether you're doing good or bad. They'd fucking and try to start shit with you for no reason. That was never something I was fond of in TF2. I don't know, I feel like I saw, like, a lot of people who had attitude problems, and the general atmosphere of the game kind of went downhill over time, and less people kind of were acting friendly, so didn't really love putting up with the fucking community sometimes. There were some points where TF2's community was rather poor and not fun to deal with. Did not like that about that, but that's the only thing I can say where I didn't have a lot of fun with it. There's other multiplayer games I'd like to talk about with this subject. I might bring this up later. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop the stream here. I hope that's okay with you guys. I am actually kind of tired. I feel like I want to relax, and I am ready to just take it easy for the rest of the day, so I'm gonna save the game and stop, yeah. I'm ready to fucking be done tonight and not fucking do any more shiny hunting, so thanks a lot, you guys, for dropping by and watching. I had a good time streaming today. Could have been a little bit better. There could have been more people around. Could have been chat working more and a more pleasant experience at that. But, I mean, it wasn't bad. It was a good time, and I enjoyed myself. Hope you guys had a good time as well. And I'll be stopping stream now. Hope you guys have a great day or night, and I'll see you guys again soon. I'll probably be back with some more shiny hunting tomorrow, and maybe I'll do it on Friday or Saturday. I don't know. We'll see how that's going to work for the rest of the week. I don't know yet. Anyway, bye everybody. Take care. Have a great day or night. Bye. Thanks for watching.